Welcome to the show. Today we have a fun show today. I've got an interview. It's been a while. I love interviews. I've been looking forward to interviewing this guy for a while. His name's Adam. I do have to say he's not here at the moment. He was just here. We were talking, and he was saying there was something up with his internet. He's having a delay. Something about, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. He had good internet until something happened about 4 years ago that his internet just didn't work the same. And he's attempting to remedy that by moving a little closer to this new router that he got. So he'll be back shortly. He'll be joining us. But anyway, I'm excited. Might as well take this time to say I am sorry for yesterday, everyone. I just want to explain what happened. So the night before yesterday, I only got 3 hours of sleep. I've been taking the night shifts whenever my son is fussy at night. I'll let her sleep and I take him. I'm used to being up at night anyway, so I kind of hang out with him until I'm just too tired and I need to go to sleep. And then I pass him off to my wife and I go to sleep myself. So it turned out we had a doctor's appointment yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday earlier in the morning. And I only was able to sleep for like 3 hours. So it was pretty rough. I was super tired. And I fell asleep at like 9 o'clock p.m. my time, which is, I don't remember exactly, but I slept through my show yesterday, so I do apologize. So anyone who was worried about me, because I kind of disappeared for the night, and I do apologize for not letting you guys know earlier ahead of time because I was sleeping. But new dad, I'm still learning the kinks of having or working the kinks out of being up at night, or my son basically makes my schedule. But okay, looks like he's back. Let me bring him on board. Welcome to the show, Adam. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How to pull an audible, new modem, new router, and things just don't work like they're supposed to.
That's all right. Is it better? Is the delay fixed a little bit better or no?
It's actually much better. I have a couple of
Oh,
bars now,
wonderful.
so I'm good to go. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. I've been seeing your face for a very long time. That smile right there, that you've got this natural smile, and it shows. I feel like most people have seen your face because of the whole January 6th thing, and you were famously the person who picked up the lectern, and I don't even think you took it, right? I don't want to get ahead of myself, but because I'm just painting the picture of like how I know you, and I've been following you for a little while now, and I've been looking forward to chatting with you. You seem like a reasonable man. You're a father, and I believe we're actually about the same age. I'm 40. You're 40, right?
I,
About
I,
that,
t-
I
I
think.
turned 40 in less than 90 days, so the clock is ticking.
39. Okay, so I got you by half a year. Right on. Well, okay, so I don't even know where to start. You're a father of five, which of five sons. I as a new
That
father,
is
I'm intrigued by that. Like, what's that like? Five kids, boys.
after three, it's just extra plate. Everyone kind of worries, like four kids, five kids. It's one extra plate. We are going through a lot of puberty. I have three teenagers now in high school,
Oh
one in
wow,
elementary school and one at middle school. So plates don't stay full. It's constantly leftovers and trying to keep up with that. But it's a lot of fun. Can't complain.
I believe it. I believe it. So I was there on January 6th, and I feel like I got out easy. I see a lot of people, and I know a lot of people that were caught up, I should say, in the bureaucracy of what I feel is a setup. That 100%. I've talked about it a lot on my show. I tweeted out the very next day, agent provocateurs. It was so clear to me the day of, the next day, and since then that there were agents on the ground, and since proven that there were different three-letter agencies that all had different people on the ground undercover that weren't even communicating. It was insane. And as someone who was in the Capitol, I don't want to dwell on this, but I really would love to hear your story. Like, what did you listen to Trump? When did you go to the Capitol? Break it down. Like, just run me through that day.
So that day is it's they say it's an eventful day. It actually was not very eventful at all.
I
It's actually
agree.
the first rally I've ever showed up to. I've never been to a protest before. I've never been to a Trump rally. It's my first one. I just heard it was the same thing they say every election cycle. It's the last, stretch we get to democracy and everything's going to shut down afterwards. So I showed up because I got into politics a little bit. And when I showed up, I didn't really know much of what's going on. First time in DC. I listened to a handful of people who were speaking that day down by the Capitol Monument. I got bored, honestly. I kind of walked around a little bit. I
Yeah.
saw the World War II memorial with the stars. I saw the Lincoln
Yeah. Yeah.
Memorial because again in DC, first time checking things out. Trump
It's really
came on
pretty
and he
right down there.
oh, it's gorgeous. I've been back 3
Yeah.
or 4 times now, so great place. I highly recommend going there and not walking into their buildings on certain days through certain doors.
Yes. Good advice.
So it was okay. Trump said we were marching down to the Capitol. We were going to have our voices heard, which I assumed was still protected under my 1A rights. I'm allowed to assemble peacefully and show up and say I don't like how things are going, and that
Right.
is kind of the spirit of how America was founded. So I thought this is going to be fine. So I walked down there. By the time I get there, whatever barricades were torn down, and we have a lot of hindsight now. It's been a few years, so we can see people, move barricades, police move barricades, people are ushered up. But when I got there, none of those things have been done, or at least if they were done, I didn't see them. So when I
Right.
show up, everyone's kind of standing around. We're singing the Star Spangled Banner and the national anthem, and they gas us. They start launching munitions at us.
So right when
And
you showed up, where you walk up and immediately get gassed.
I just walk up the stairs. People are standing around. Nothing is going on. We are singing the national anthem.
Yeah.
And I'm probably 3 or 4 lines back from where the police have formed a semicircle, and people are just standing around. And I don't know if you call it a protest or a gathering of people who just don't like what's going on.
Right.
So we're singing the national anthem, and then uh, I'm sitting kind of few rows back. Munitions come out of her top. We've seen the video now. The guy didn't know what he was doing that launched the tear gas into the crowd.
Yeah.
And when you launch tear gas into a crowd that is not, most of these people are teachers, firefighters. They don't really understand how these things work. You launch munitions into mostly peaceful people, and we were actually mostly peaceful. It's ironic. You're going to push the front half of the people into the police and the back half of the people away from the police. Well, after that point, people feel like you're shooting at them and they're pushing against the police. This is what happened. And we've seen it on video over and over again. These are not violent people. These are people who were fired upon
Yeah.
and fled into whatever direction the munitions were
Just get away
pointed
from it.
towards. Yes. But these people are now in prison. I don't want to kvetch too much about that, although I should because it is an actual tragedy.
100%. I agree with that. The fact that there's still people in there for just basically protesting and being let in, right? I mean,
And you say
we've
this,
seen.
and
Yeah.
you say like I got off easy. Like I get that a lot. I have a lot of survivor's guilt because I got off so much easier than a lot of people have. And
Yeah.
half the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because their voices can't be heard. They're in prison. They're silenced. So someone has
Yeah.
to speak on their behalf.
Well, I want to
It's heavy.
talk. I want
Sorry.
to.
Yeah.
No. You're 100% right. And Matt Smith in my chat just said political prisoners, and it does feel like that. I mean, Biden entered in and basically opened the floodgates for political persecution for anyone that was not on their narrative, right? I mean, it's just been 3.5 years of just consistent going up against anyone, locking people away. And if you didn't have a voice, if you like, most notable person I know was Brandon Strzok, and he, you know, had a lot of people rooting for him and trying to get him out. But there are so many more people that are still just locked away because no one knows who they are. They're just kind of
Yeah.
regular people that just happen to be pulled in. And I mean, I've seen so many different videos. I've looked at a lot of the footage myself. I feel like the legacy media doesn't want to go there because it disproves the narrative, right? So they're not going to show
Yeah.
any of that. They're not going to prove that. Oh, yeah, these people were being let in. Oh, they were inside the velvet ropes, peacefully just walking through, like, oh, like tourists. It looked like they were just peaceful tourists, right?
Yep. They love
And the
sharing my
lies.
photo day one. They stop
Oh,
sharing it immediately
100%.
afterwards. You
Oh,
can't
yeah.
find them unless it's on some conservative, page on Twitter or something. Doesn't pop up.
Yeah.
Doesn't pop
So
up. It's counter narrative.
your that image, I do have I made the thumbnail out of the image. Did you see the thumbnail?
I did. I did. I think I shared it
So
too. Yeah.
did you? Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So if you haven't seen the picture here, let me just pull this up so people can see it. So if you haven't seen this picture, I would be shocked, to be honest. I feel like most of you have seen this image before. Now, I just want to. I'm just curious. How did you find it? What was your plan with it? And I don't think you actually left with it, right? I think it was just like a photo op, from what I've remember.
Yes.
I don't know. Tell me
Yeah.
about it.
So it was sitting out in the open. It was not in someone's office or closet. I didn't break down a door. I didn't remove like someone's personal property. It was
Yeah.
sitting in a corner in a hallway. And being, social media culture, I'm 40, but not that old, but I still understand social media. I thought this is
39. You ain't
yeah,
40 yet.
39, 39. Yeah. I thought this would be a great prop for a photo for social media. As shallow as that is, I'm in the rotunda. This is a great prop. So I pick it up, I carry it to the middle of the room, I give a short speech, and I leave it there. And it was in my possession probably less than 2 minutes total.
Okay.
And the FBI actually knew they had it. They actually knew it never left the building. The Department of
Right.
Justice knew this. Everyone knew it never left the building. They still charged me with felony theft for moving furniture some 20 yards.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness. Felony theft?
felony theft. Yes. Now, what's nutty
Wow.
is so I didn't take it. They said I converted it. I converted the use of it as my property. So because I made it
By
my
picking it up?
property by picking it up and giving a speech, that is theft.
Oh, like you stood in front of it as if it was like
Mm,
your
yeah.
lectern?
Yeah, so, like, if you take a pen to the post office and
Stupid.
fill out, like a mailer, you're converting
Yeah.
federal property to your use because 'cause you're using it as its intent.
Essentially.
Yeah, mhm,
Yeah. It's government
yeah,
property.
yeah,
Wow. So I mean, a lot of us are felons then. I've
yeah.
used that pen. Admit it, chat. A lot of you out there have used that pen.
Yep.
Felon.
You see a neighbor's mailbox door down because the wind's going, you put it back up, that's also a felon. You can't mess with someone's post office box.
Multiple
These are
time felon right here.
I'm just,
Okay.
what is that book? It's highly celebrated in prison. It's people commit 3 felonies a day. It's how the code is written, and it said they want to
I don't
arrest you,
know
they
this.
can. It's an actual book. You should look into it. But the average
Chat, you know what
American,
he's talking about? No? Hey, we'll see.
yeah, you can Google
Yeah,
it.
I'm
But
not
the
sure.
average American commits 3 felonies a day because the
Oh,
way the code is.
just on like how ridiculous laws are,
Hmm.
that like it
Yeah.
just being just living, you're breaking laws.
Hmm.
Okay.
They're arresting people now for trampling grass outside of the Capitol.
Uh-oh. Really?
Yeah. Uh huh. What's the extradition rules in Sweden right now?
Well, it's funny you should say that because like I got a new phone, but on my old phone, I was looking at the pictures of that day, right? And I documented a lot of that day. And I was there, I was taking pictures, I filmed a little bit of Trump's speech, and it was the first time I had ever been to a Trump rally as well. I had that same vibe, right? I was living in Maryland, so it was an hour drive for me, and I'm like, I have to go. It's right
It's right
there.
there. It's right there.
And so I was there, and I walked down to the Capitol with everybody. I didn't go to the Capitol, but I like was standing out, like looking at it. I could see all the people. There were so many people that I'm like, I'm not gonna go into that mess. So I feel like
Well, COVID,
I
right? You don't want to get
I
sick.
skirted. Well, I was not afraid of COVID. I didn't care. I feel like I had caught it in February of 2020. So like almost a year prior. I feel like I had already gotten sick and I'm very healthy. So I was like, I'm not even worried. Like even if I catch it again, I feel, I was 36 at the time. I felt like I was healthy. I've been a skateboarder. I'm an athletic guy. I wasn't fearful of COVID, but I just didn't want to go into like a thick crowd. It just looked like it was just uncomfortable. And I'm like, I was there to just I was there for Trump. Wasn't there. I didn't feel like anything was going to happen from us being outside. You know what I mean? Like we were protesting from my perspective, we were just protesting. I didn't see any of the violence or anything that people were talking about. And I heard that Ashley Babbitt got shot via
Yeah.
Twitter because I was still kind of reading Twitter and looking at what was going on, but I didn't see any of that. I didn't see any of the tear gas. I didn't see any commotion. To me, it just looked like everyone was just standing around like a regular protest. So, and it turns out, I guess it was on the other side of the Capitol building from where I was at. So I don't even recognize a lot of the footage from the like
Yeah.
the scaling the walls and whatnot.
It's a
Yeah,
giant building. So, I
yeah,
mean, you can and I compare it to being at a football game, right? It's about that many people, if not more. If someone is beating his wife in a bathroom on the other side of the other side of the building, right, the stadium,
yeah.
are you responsible for that? No,
Of
like
course
you
not.
all showed up to see a game. So we all showed up to do the same thing. We're protesting. If
Yeah,
someone's acting stupid over there, how is that my fault? Right?
correct.
And some people did act stupid. I don't shy away from that. There is footage of people hitting cops. That's bad. It's always a bad thing. Don't do that. It's bad look. But
Of
the
course.
majority of people, like 96, 90% of the cases that we see are nonviolent misdemeanors. And these misdemeanors are, we don't even prosecute for this. This is trespassing. This is
I'd
parading
even
and picketing. Good
I'd
Lord.
even argue against that though, because there's so many videos of and people talking about the security. It's like at that stadium, the security guard lets a huge group of people like go behind stage, you know?
Sure.
And then it's like one guy's belligerent, and then like all of you guys are gonna get prosecuted now. It's like, well, the security guard let them in, and
I think
the guy
I,
breaking the window open that suddenly like disappeared, clearly a Fed. I don't have
I
any
think
proof
we're
of this.
I think we're saying the same thing. It's you
Yeah.
don't typically prosecute
Yeah,
for
I'm
these
adding.
things.
I'm adding to what you were
Yes.
saying. We are
Yeah.
saying the same thing. Yeah.
You don't prosecute for these things. These are things where you can shake your head at. It typically just turns into hyperbole for one
Yeah. Of
party or the other, depending on who's protesting, right? Because we've
course.
seen we've seen how many insurrections since January 6th at that Capitol, 3 or 4 minimum,
Yep.
right? Where are the prosecutions? Where are the prosecutions? Typically, it is just rhetoric and hyperbole, and then we move forward, right?
Yeah.
And the only reason I think that we were prosecuted is because we stood up to the ivory tower and what it stands
Cathedral.
for. I think it's been degraded. Have you? They have a video you actually have to watch now if you want to tour the Capitol inside. They refer to the Capitol as a cathedral. Like
No
as
way.
I swear to God, there is a video you have to watch. It's about 20 minutes
Wow.
long. They call it a cathedral. They celebrate it like it is some
Holy
magical
ground.
place or some exactly. And it's like, no, you are this place is desecrated. I just watched a video of two dudes butt fucking each other. Sorry, I don't know where we are. I
You're
apologize.
100% right. Yeah, we saw
I
the
just
video.
watched this.
I'm
That
sure a
is
lot of people.
desecration. That is desecration. Moving
Yeah, it's
furniture is not
disgusting.
desecration. It is disgusting. And I'm
Yeah.
supposed to have respect for this place. It's absurd to me. It is
Yeah.
absurd to me.
Well, that's how they treat citizens. They treat citizens like plebs and serfs, and they are holier than thou, and they should be revered, and they know what's best for the rest of the world, and like that's how they act. Like look at the way Pelosi talks to during all the filming that she did on January 6th. She clearly set that up. She clear was basically getting off that whole time. She loved it. She was enjoying it every step of the way. She was enjoying that
Well, her
because she set
daughter
it
was
up.
filming a documentary
Yes, that
during it.
day of all days.
She actually reached out to me several times to my attorneys
The
to get
daughter.
me to get me to be a part of a documentary. And I thought we had an agreement. I said, "Look, I'll be a part of it, but I want to have a beer with your mom."
That was the deal?
That was that was the caveat. So you make this work. I want
Props.
to be with your mom. I want to talk about what happened. Maybe get a hug.
Yeah.
A photo or something, and then move on from there. And
Yeah.
she told me it couldn't happen maybe after midterms, but never came to fruition. So
Uh-huh. Well, I'm still waiting to see that documentary. I don't know if it ever came out.
it did. So HBO
It
had
did.
the documentary. Yeah, I think it was 6, 7 months ago now. And I'm really glad
Oh
I didn't
shit.
do it because I mean the way they paint these people,
Oh
it's like
yeah.
look, like people are eccentric. Like if you showed up to protest, you had nothing else better to do. So I mean, and it's okay. It's okay. Love you just the same. But they found they found some very interesting people, and they
I'm
made it
sure.
about them. Hmm.
Of
Hmm.
course. Mm-hmm. And Ray Epps is a victim being attacked in the mountains of Arizona now.
That
I don't know.
dude was pushing that flag into the cops the same way that other people who have been charged who are in for years now, for
Yeah,
years now. And the video they use to charge these people who are in for years is the same video Epps is on. So you can't sit here and tell me it's not selective prosecution. And this is
of
not
course.
justice.
Yep, exactly. So January 6th happened. I mean, I've talked about it a lot. I know a lot of my chat and the people here probably have heard about January 6th. So we don't need to dwell anymore. Unfortunately, there are still people out there. So your lecterns that you did have one behind you before where you were at.
It's right
But you
there.
no, it's oh, is that? Oh, it is. Oh, okay, I didn't
It's,
notice it. It looks like it's holding up that wreath or that light.
it
That's
does.
great.
I'll grab it real quick. Give me a second.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Yeah, show it. Okay, so he's been making these little tiny lecterns and they're absolutely fantastic. And he's about to show us these lecterns that he's been making and they're just absolutely great. And I want we'll segue because it's still kind of the lectern talk. Now you sell these, but you're not allowed to profit off them, right? There was some rule. Go
So
explain that to me.
so my plea deal came down, and they agreed to drop a felony and a misdemeanor, which left me with a single misdemeanor. But part of that
Okay.
plea deal was I could not profit for. They wanted a lifetime off of my name, likeness, image, anything
Your
surrounding January
name.
6th. Everything. I can't write songs, can't do podcasts. It's a whole thing. And I was
Wow.
actually,
Okay.
I was happy they thought I had talent to write songs because I don't tell people I actually.
You're like, I fooled them. Ha ha.
Exactly. I'm actually a
That's
musician. They recognized my talent. They thought that's gonna be the thing. So they said no. But so in that, I said, well, that's fine. It's not really about the money, it's about the message. So
yeah.
I worked, we got it down to 5 years instead of a lifetime. And in
Okay.
that, it took me about 3 years into it for the AUSA gave us a go ahead. I'm allowed to donate my time and my efforts and my works to charity. So
Ah,
that is what I'm
a
a carpenter
workaround.
by yeah, I'm a carpenter by trade. If there's a loophole, I'm gonna find it. I'm
I like that.
passionate about loopholes. So I'm a
Yep.
carpenter by trade. I built these little lecterns.
They're amazing.
Yeah, they're great. They're fantastic. And then we auction them off for charity for people who have families who are in prison because the family's nothing wrong. It should be indifferent, right? The kids nothing wrong, the wife nothing wrong, the husband nothing wrong. So we should be indifferent about this. We should take care of each
Yeah.
other. So regardless where you land on January 6th, it's a good thing to take care of kids.
Agreed
So
100%.
yeah, so I have a charity now, just got approved by the IRS. We are building a website and we're just gonna do some good.
Okay, it's not actually set up yet. You're
S- We
still
were
in
doing
process.
we were doing eBay and eBay just
Okay.
shut us down. So Viva Fry,
What? What
David,
do you mean?
yeah. So David Fry, Viva Fry is a good friend of mine. We
Yeah. Yeah,
really
he's
good
great.
friend.
He's been on the show. Really like him a
He's
lot. Great guy.
He's one of my favorite people. I will tell you whether he is on camera or in person, it is the same dude. Love that man.
I believe that. Yeah.
He is.
He's been on the show. I interviewed him one time and I really got a good vibe from him. I feel like I get a good vibe. I can feel someone's vibe, and he seems like one of those that's just like exactly the same on off camera. It don't matter because well, it's exhausting. Can you imagine like being someone that you're not? Like
Oh
no
God,
thanks. But
the
yeah, he's
worst.
great. All right, so you're working with him. He's helping you out.
Yep. So he has a larger reach than I do. So I said, listen,
Hmm,
he obviously earned a lectern because he fled Canada. It's like, I can't do this anymore. Gave up his practice. Like the guy's a gem. So I
yeah,
gave him two lecterns, right? He earned one, gave one to auction off.
cool.
Big reach. I said, listen, auction one off, put it out to your audience. Within 2 days, they shut the auction down. eBay said
eBay
that
did.
eBay said that the lecterns were they represented a tragedy and violence in history. Meanwhile, you can buy Mein Kampf
What?
and actual Nazi memorabilia on eBay right now. So they shut the auction down,
What?
and it's
Wait,
okay.
the only violence that happened on January 6th was against like the citizens. What was it like
Yeah.
4 people got killed? None of them were police?
Yep. Well,
Or I
I have
happened?
IBS, so something violent happened in a bathroom there at some point.
Hmm.
But other than that,
Apologies to the janitor that had to clean that up. But it's the only lethal weapon, the bombs I was dropping that day.
on the notes of that. So Ashley Babbitt was murdered by a person,
Yes.
Lieutenant. What is his name?
Bird?
Something Bird, Larry Bird, not Larry Bird, it's a basketball player.
No.
Michael Bird. Michael Bird. That's his
Michael
name.
Bird?
Yeah,
There it
Michael
is.
Bird. There's a lawsuit right now against him. So this
Hmm.
man left a loaded firearm in the bathroom in the Capitol and walked away at some point. He also
What?
yes, he also discharged his firearm in his neighborhood that struck other people's homes. His car was stolen. So he comes out with his gun and starts shooting at the car as going away and struck some homes in his neighborhood. This man is negligent with firearms. Like he should
Wow.
never. This is that guy. He blind fired into a crowd. This is not someone who took aim. And
Yeah.
if you look into the lawsuit, it's actually fascinating. The
Really?
story behind when the shot was fired and how it was fired and how it was reported and why he said he fired it. All of it's sketch as fuck, man.
Yeah.
It's bad. Roseanne
Boylan.
Boylan, yes.
Boylan.
Also a
Yep.
crazy story. Gateway Pundit
Yep.
broke this. They
Hmm.
asked for the footage for the officer who beat her relentlessly to
Yep.
death. And they said, well, you can't FOIA, Capitol Police, so I guess have a nice day.
So messed up.
Like,
Yeah, I was talking to Philip Anderson, who was basically holding her hand, trying to help her stay
yeah.
alive. And man, it's a damn shame.
Call me odd. I don't celebrate the loss of life ever. I don't think it's a good thing whether you're left or right. I'm indifferent. I don't want to see people die. I
I
really
like it.
really don't.
I'm
And
getting attacked right now from it because I'm against this whole pager thing. The with all the exploding pagers, like people are attacking me. I'm like, yeah, but innocents got killed too. They're like, oh, war's war, and I'm like,
how do you
everybody,
how do you
what?
know someone innocent wasn't killed?
No,
Right?
someone innocent was killed. Like we know that happened. So it's like I'm against violence also. So when I see innocent people getting hurt, I feel bad. I don't like it. And I'm not ever going to be pressured into being okay with that. So I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah. And in general, I mean, unless it's a pedophile, then I really don't care.
Whichever.
I
Yeah.
just, I just don't care.
100%. You go after kids
Yep.
that you disconnect, you're no longer a human to me. Like, you're taking someone else's life away essentially.
Yeah, I
Right?
feel
You're
like
not
that's the
murdering
only
them,
line. Yeah, that should be
but
that's my one line. I'm not a big
respect. I like it.
I don't know. That's a deep conversation, but at the end of
Well,
it,
you're a dad also. So like
yeah,
I get that. I mean, newly a dad myself, I feel when I before I even met my son months ago, I felt this change in me where I already wanted to fight for kids. Already wanted to help prevent the tragedies that can happen to children. But man, I'm just looking at I made a little pewter cast of his foot the other day.
I love
I'm
it.
really hyped about it, and I'm just like looking at it, and I'm like, I would do anything to protect him, And now that I have my own child, I'm like, oh man, like now I get it. I get the protection that parents want, and now I see the shit on because man, I'm perpetually on X online. I'm seeing this stuff, right? I mean, people love the tragedies and share the tragedy, the drama of life. So I'm like, I'm seeing these things, and it's horrifying, right? So I know I'm getting sidetracked here, but
No, I think it's fair.
it's horrible.
I didn't have a Twitter account before any of this. I started one about a year and a half ago. They
Hmm.
took my Facebook and Instagram. They deleted them. That's fine.
Deleted them.
Yeah, no longer on them. They won't get the money. But when everything happened, Facebook, Instagram deleted everything. Now
Are you
Twitter,
allowed back on, like
um,
after the 5 years, or
yeah, I actually had them for a little bit. I don't want to give them any of my sponsorship, money, ads, nothing. I just have
okay,
zero interest in
makes
helping them
sense.
at all. At all.
Okay,
And not that I trust X so explicitly that I would just, fall in line and be like, "Oh, it's the only social media you should ever have," but it's better. It's better
it's
if
it's paving the way right now. It's not the best. It still has some rogue actors, I think, but for the most part,
we look at this last assassination attempt on Trump. Do you know
Yeah.
what account was up longer than any other account on social media for this guy? X.
Well, that's a good
X.
point. Yeah.
X did not delete this guy's account. I think it took almost 2 or 3 hours before it was found. So they were able to archive everything on this
Yeah.
guy.
Shout out to some
Everything.
bitch I know.
Dude, Elle is
You
I've
know
met
her?
her.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so Elle was, at a range day with, the donut guy and
Donut
the AK
operator.
guy.
You know, I was
Yeah!
invited to that day. I'm so mad I didn't make it because I'm out here, right? I would have had to make it all the way across. So I was
Well,
invited,
listen,
but
I'm going to the next one. I think you should come
when
out.
is it?
I can't announce it here, but I will
Okay,
DM you.
okay. Well, look. He said that I'd be down. The thing is, it's because I didn't want to leave my wife. It could have had an early pregnancy. It turned out we were a couple like 2.5 like 2 weeks after the due date, but I couldn't be like, I'm just gonna go to the States for like a couple weeks, you know? So and
Well,
then
you'll love it. Yeah.
my co-hosts are going to Peru in like a month and I would have gone with them, but I'm a little sad about that. But
You know
my
what?
wife needs me here, so
I travel a lot. I'm taking 2 months off. So I've been gone every other week this entire year just doing podcasts, trying
wow.
to I'm trying to make connections. I actually want to make a real change, not just temporary change.
Yeah, I
I
love
think
that.
I think that we have issues. We look at things in 4-year and
Yeah,
2-year increments and we say maybe this time, maybe this time. We have generational issues. This is not
you are
something we solve
100%
overnight. We need an entire generation of kids that we're honest with. We made mistakes. Our parents
correct.
made mistakes. We are here because we don't own up to them.
Yeah.
And I refuse to be the generation who leaves my world in a worse place than where I found it for my kids. Because I actually love my kids. Love my kids. I refuse to be selfish. I want them to have more than I had. And not just in a
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm just like I love this. This is the energy that I feel like I talk a lot about on my show. You know, it's all about like 2 years. Nothing's gonna get fixed in 2 years.
yeah.
This is I say this so many times. The problems with society is a million cogwheels, right? And if you replace one cogwheel, if all of them are brittle and breaking, it's not going to fix anything by changing one. That's like 2 years. Oh, we'll switch out a new president. He's going to change everything, or, whatever. It's like, no. You gotta fix the whole thing. And what you said, right? It's like the children. You have to be honest with them, and that is huge. It's like get rid of snowplow parenting. Be honest with the children. Say the society has we've been shoved in this one direction. We have to take a few steps back and not and people are going to be like, "Oh, well, you mean back towards racism?" It's one of these things like when was America that great? Make America great again. It's like, "Oh, I don't know, like before 1913 when the Federal Reserve
Mhm.
wasn't created, fiat currency or the state electors choosing Congress people. It's like there's a lot of things that we can slowly shift back and maybe make some changes. But um, I being honest with the kids, and that's why the kids are the most important thing, right? We have to reevaluate how we are bringing them up. The whole Pareto institution based education that we have is just horrifying. We got to get rid of that. We have to open up their minds and allow them to think and be um, I don't know,
Well,
inspired,
divergent thinking is not a bad thing, right?
right?
But it also means that
Exactly.
we shouldn't let everyone be a rock star, right? Because not everyone.
Facts.
This is kind of a thing. It's look. I tell my
Participation trophies. Mm-mm.
ex-
Those are gone. Getting rid of those.
I'm not very tall. I'm a 5'8". People are shocked when
Mhm.
they meet me, like, "Oh my god, you're actually very short." I'm like, "I am. God chose not to bless me horizontally, so it's fine."
I don't know. I mean, to me, I saw you holding that lectern. I kind of got some vibes. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, that's what actually shocks people. So I do jujitsu. I'm actually in pretty good shape. I train frequently. My
Nice.
hobby is choking people, and I love it. Yeah,
It's a good hobby.
it's a great hobby. It's a great hobby. But it's I tell my kids like, look, don't anticipate being basketball stars. You're not. That's not the path for you. It isn't.
Yep.
And if we base the society on meritocracy, we're the best person for the best job, and not just by time you get there, but we told kids growing up, hey, you're good at this thing, you should do this thing. That is true divergence, but not just, it's divergence with intention, right?
Yeah.
And also disposition of, I actually care about you. You don't tell your kid, who has no rhythm, like, you should be a drummer for Aerosmith. It's not going to happen. It's not going to
Right.
happen. So stop telling your kid that's a reality. We also
True.
don't shit on their dreams, but maybe set expectations for them at minimum. They want to
Right.
try things, that's fine. But I tell my kids all the time, look, you can have hobbies, have whatever hobby you want, but if you aren't focused on the things that actually produce things in your life, your hobbies, you're not going to have the time to do them, or the money to do them, or the energy to do them. So make sure you're
Yeah.
investing in things that have solid returns.
Good point. I like that. Oh man, I've been talking about, I don't know, the future and children a lot, with my wife. We've had many conversations because we're sitting here holding our child, right? We have a child, so it's very new for us, seeing the future differently, and these kind of conversations come up quite often between the two of us, and um, we're talking like, man, there's so many different questions I'm going through my mind right now, from like vaccinations to social media, to when you introduce children to um, the internet. I don't even know what to ask first, because what you're saying, it's just scratching the surface. It's like, I love, it's the start. You're starting with your own children, right? And 5 boys too. You're already making a huge dent, I feel. And Garrett's my other favorite father in the internet is Quarter Black Garrett. Said, "Look
I
at these
actually,
bros." What's up, Garrett?
I
How you
actually
doing, bro?
love that guy. I had a nice
He's
chat with
great.
him. My wife came out to Blaze Studios, not Blaze anymore. We had a nice chat with him for almost an hour. Like, super cool guy, like someone like I would play Mario Kart with and drink a beer.
Oh yeah.
Like, nice guy.
Oh yeah. He's another one of those on the internet.
Mhm.
He's
He's got
exactly
a
the
bunch of
same.
kids, right? He's got
Yeah,
four
like
or five
20.
kids
I
himself. Yeah.
freaking I don't know. Every time I talk to him, he's got another one. I know. I think he's got four. He's got four. So he's catching up to you, I guess. So sorry, Garrett, you're not the
Yeah.
you don't have the most kids anymore on
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the
Good.
circles.
Good to have goals. I actually can't have kids anymore. I had a beeper in an accident yesterday, so
Man, that is so. I mean, I get the jokes, but man, it's a tough pill for me to swallow. Like making fun of the pager stuff.
I know.
Yeah.
I have a dark sense of humor. You have to
No, I
understand
love it.
too, like,
I love that.
yeah, there was a lot of shit talked about me when that stuff happens, and I laughed at all of it. Like, I'm completely
Props.
fine with the jokes and
Yeah, that's how you do
at,
it.
at my expense. Look, it's humor got us through, and it wasn't just laughing at it. My wife and I, we have a very good relationship. I can brag about her for hours if you'd let me, but it's a boring podcast. Everyone will tune out. But we looked at each other and we're like, well, I guess we're kind of stuck with this now. So make some lemonade. And I
Yeah.
remember coming home and talking with her, and she told me, or I told her, I was like, look, they're talking about prison for 20 years. So if you need to, like, separate, raise the kids, I completely understand. She called me a retard.
Nice.
She's like, well, you're being retarded, and that's not going to happen because we're married. And I said, through thick and thin, better or worse. So, if you could not go to prison 20 years, let's talk about that.
I would prefer you not going to prison for 20 years.
But her
So,
but her saying that in the moment, it was we laughed. Like, in a
yeah.
moment where it was probably more appropriate to cry and lament,
Yeah.
we laughed instead. Because how else are you gonna deal with things? Like, life goes on. I was in the middle of a podcast with Elijah Schaefer 2 weekends ago down
Okay.
in Miami, and I got a text in the middle of switching from unset or censored podcast to Rumble that my dad died, like,
Oh, wow.
right in the middle of the
I did see
podcast.
that. Yeah.
But
I'm sorry to hear that.
life goes on, and
Yeah.
my dad would have laughed at the jokes that we made.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I think you have to pull your bootstraps up and make the best of things. No one's gonna save you, man.
That's true. The only one you really have is yourself. And if you're lucky enough to find someone that loves you for who you are, it's gonna stand by you.
Well,
It's
it
amazing.
seems it seems like you got it. You got your first kid, man. Can I give you the best advice no one ever gave me?
Please. Yes.
You're gonna mess up. so bad. I mean, you are going to fail miserably with your first kid, your second kid, your third kid, all of them. You're going to make mistakes. And the best part about being a dad is growing with them. They
Yeah.
it's God, it's an idiom and it's horrible and it's dated, but they grow with you. Like it's a there's a learning curve and you learn more about yourself. I am more patient and more loving and more kind and have more empathy than I ever would have had if I didn't have children. It is
I like it.
they've made me a better person through and through.
Thank you. Well, I feel that already. Man, I haven't played a video game in, I don't remember, maybe a month or a month and a half. I don't know. I used to play a lot of video games, right? And they don't taste good anymore. Right? That make a
Eh, you'll get
way
back
of
to
saying
it.
it.
Yeah, I
I'm
have a
sure. I'm sure,
I
but something you said about to your sons, about having hobbies. And if you aren't giving something and pursuing something that's actually giving you or value, or like you're earning from, you can't enjoy your hobbies. And it's like gaming was my hobbies, and I feel like I needed to put them aside and get to work, so that because I'm providing for someone other than myself. And I mean, my wife didn't need me to provide for her because she worked herself, and like it worked. We were a pair, right? We're partners, and we were worked great together for 9 years. But now we have someone. I have someone that needs me, right? So like I just
yeah.
have a completely different outlook, and I feel different already. I'm already feeling myself change, and I couldn't be happier. Like I am so happy. I love the feeling that I'm getting because I'm actually doing things. Like even just looking at this foot, right? I know it's such a silly little thing, right? This pewter foot. But what I love jewelry, right? And I love sand casting, and I never actually have done it before. And this was my first attempt, my first try, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to get into this." It's a hobby that now, but I'm doing it because, and I'm making videos about it all. I'm filming it all. I'm going to start a whole new channel, and I'm super inspired. And anyway, now I'm just geeking out because I'm so
That's good
excited about
those
being a dad. But
those
thank
are
you.
the endorphins, though. Those are the endorphins. I will tell you,
Yeah.
I do believe that evolution has played a very specific role, and we forget all of these sleepless nights. If you're a dad, and Garrett can
Yeah.
probably definitely attest to this, you forget all of the things you sacrifice to
Yeah.
raise a baby into a toddler, the people they are as toddlers. You
Yeah.
forget all of it. All you remember is how magical they were as babies, and it makes you
Yeah.
want to have more. I do believe
Yeah.
there's intelligent design in that where it's like, no, to procreate, you gotta forget all of these sleepless nights,
Yeah.
all of that, right? But
Well, I
and
haven't
it's
forgotten them yet. But
you'll get there. You will get
I
there.
know. I believe
You're
it. Yeah.
something clicks off and you're like, you know what? That was actually a lot of fun. It's a lot
Yeah.
of fun. All that torture and not sleeping and wanting to drive my car off a bridge. I want to do that all over again. It happens
Yeah.
out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, every single time I look at him though, it disappears. It's
Mhm.
only when she's taking care of him and I'm like dead tired and I'm like, "Ugh, man, I'm tired." And then I have to like wake up. It's just like it's only those fraction of seconds that I'm like annoyed that I have to get up because I see
Mhm.
him, or I see that she needs me to take care of him, and it's just gone already. So I see what you mean, because even though I'm in it right now, I'm already forgetting it, because when I think about him, I'm not thinking about the sleepless nights. I'm thinking about that I have a son, right?
Yep.
Or I think that I'm her smile when she sees me holding him. It's just magic to me. So I'm sure,
I
if
think
only,
this is
yeah,
also this is that generational thing we're talking about. People who have kids understand that things aren't about them and that
facts. Yep.
sacrifice and thinking about future generations is actually the most pertinent thing we should be discussing because
100%.
my legacy is not just my children, it's what I leave my children.
Yep. Exactly.
So
And what you fight for your children.
I will tell you, January 6th, not to full circle anyway, when I
Sure.
went down to the memorial where the gold stars are World War II, it's like
Yeah.
440 stars. Each star represents, I think it's 2,000 people. Could be wrong.
Yeah.
And I
Maybe.
saw this, and I don't like war. even a little bit, but I love the place that I live, and I respect the people who show up every single day and showed up and gave their lives to give me what I have.
Yep.
And when I see my country being taken over by communists, I just I'm sorry. I got a little bit emotional because I'm thinking to myself, these people who get into office, the only way they fix the economy is war. That is it. I have 5 sons that are approaching draft age. 5
Mm,
sons. And
true.
for me, that was my moment. I was like, I can't abide. These people, they cannot continue to be in power and continue to exist the way they exist because they will send my children to die for profit.
Yep.
And we
That's
see
true.
that now. How many wars do we have going on right now? Right now.
Two that we know about,
And we just
and
gave Ukraine what the authority from NATO to launch missiles into the heart of Russia. What
yep.
are we doing? What are we doing? That is a nuclear power that we're saying, hey, I know we're not really trying to start war, but if you guys want to start war, I guess we'll send our children. No, thank you.
Yep.
No, thank you.
Your children, not our
Mhm.
children. That's their energy anyway.
My thought
Yep.
is, I like the, I want a resolution in Congress called the Abraham Act, where if you're going to vote for war, you have to send
Hmm.
your firstborn to the
Okay.
front lines. To the front lines. If war is that important to you, if you
Yeah.
think that we should die for this thing, you send your kids to the front line first.
Well, there's so many people. Kamala, for example, she doesn't have any kids, right? She's got
She has a stepkid.
stepkids, but that
Yeah,
doesn't.
that works for what is
uh,
it, Balenciaga or something? The
You know,
satanic pedophile worshiping fashion designer.
stepchildren are. It's just not the same. I had a step parent who had her like my stepmom, right? I love her, but I remember being a kid and her having her first biological son, and she was very distinctly different with her biological son to me. And I was a little older, but I still felt the differences. And
Yeah.
that's just my own personal recollection on it. But
Did you try not being a terrible child?
no, mm-mm,
You just
no,
yeah. This might be on you. I don't know if you've thought
might
about
have
that.
been. I might have just been an asshole.
Could have been you
Uh,
thing.
no, who knows? You could be right. That's true. But I'm just thinking about like I feel like a stepchild versus your own biological child. I feel there is a distinct difference there. I mean, Kamala met her when she was like 15 or 16, so she wasn't
Mhm.
even a child. She was a teenager when she got with whatever the hell his name is, the first vice president guy. I don't. Doug,
I
is
I
that his
don't
name?
know. I don't know.
Chat. It doesn't matter. Whatever. But I don't trust her. And then not to mention all the people that are in Congress that don't have kids, that don't give a shit. And this whole and while we're on the subject of people without kids being in places of leadership, this whole anti-natalist movement, right? I read an article yesterday. Do I have it up? No, I don't think I have it up. It doesn't matter. The article was basically saying it's selfish to have children, right? It's selfish to have and I'm just like thinking in my head, I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like here I am, a new dad. I'm like, I literally wake up and I go, how can I make my son's life better? And it's like I have to work harder. I'm gonna do things and improve what I'm doing to make my son's life better. I'm like, I'm literally living for someone else. I'm not living for myself anymore. I'm not worrying about whether or not I get enough sleep. I'm not worried about playing video games to just blank out and ignore things that need to be fixed. No, I'm literally living for someone else. It's like that's the most selfless thing you can do, I feel, is live for someone else.
What do they transcribe as the alternative to not having children? What is the thing that is
They
that
don't
is
go
self
there. They don't
well,
go there. It's
and
it's
that's
bad for the environment, it's bad for Earth. It's better that humans don't procreate. That's literally the anti-natalist movement.
mm,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I'm always a lead by example type of person, and I
Mhm.
actually celebrate the Democrats having vasectomies at their
I
conferences.
know.
I'm actually fine with that. I am. I am.
Well, adults though, right? They're going after the kids and transferring it to a trans health care, but it's the same thing. It's what's the difference? They're castrating children. right? They're
I
convincing them that that's what they want, though. But it's the same thing to me. I see it as the same. What's
I
the
I, re-
difference?
I refuse to call it healthcare. I think that
No,
so
I
much
I
of
know.
our
That's why I had to do it with
yeah, I
quotes.
know, and
Right.
that's why I like you.
Yeah.
It's not healthcare. It is
Correct.
murder. It is
Yeah.
mutilation. That is exactly what it is. Always has been.
Yeah. It's
Always
a
will be.
pharmaceutical. You're a pharmaceutical product at that point. They're just
Yes.
making money off you while they're also severing your bloodline.
Well, desensitizing ourselves to language is, I think, a big reason why we are where we are. When we like, because when I was a kid growing up, and we're again roughly the same age, when I
Yep.
was growing up, we didn't call it. We didn't even call it. We didn't call it healthcare. We didn't call it abortion, right? We called it ending a life. Like that. We started there. We
Yep.
started at a very clear place. We are the baby's life is going to end, but in
Yep.
the cases of rape, incest, and health of the mother, it
Yep.
is contingent upon us to do the thing that is maybe difficult, but the right thing to do. And it's always sold that anti-hero type of rhetoric. It's the right thing to do. It's a tough thing to do, but we're going to do it because it's the right thing to do. And then we pushed forward and said, well, we're going to call it abortion, right? Because that's a medical term. We should be clear about our facts. And now it's
Yep.
healthcare. We consistently and constantly move the line of our
Reproductive health
language.
care.
Reproductive. It's We consistently and constantly move the line of what things are, and it waters
Yep.
down the language in such a way to where you can't disagree with it because it's nuanced, and it's actually very simple. There is a life, and then there isn't a life based on your actions.
Yep.
That is what happens. And if you want to have a conversation with me, I need you to start there. Admit the thing you're doing is the thing you're doing. You
Yep.
want to talk about rape, incest, life of the mother? I'm willing to have that conversation, but it is a life,
Yep.
period. And I refuse to call it healthcare, and I refuse to call it reproductive healthcare.
Well,
Say
Charlie Kirk
exactly
just
what it is.
had he just had a I don't even know what it was, like a round table, him versus like 20 college students. Did you see any of this floating around?
Was it on Pornhub or?
No, it was about no, no, it was an argument. It was a debate on abortion with these college
Okay,
students. But my
sorry.
God. No, 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 no. So, but it was these kids, I mean, I say kids, but they're college students, so they are technically adults. I can't not see them as children because mentally they are children, right? They're adult babies.
Well, their
But they
brains aren't fully functioned until 25, right? The prefrontal
25,
cortex is not fully.
26.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. But their argument is that it's not a human, it's a fetus. It's just like, oh, it's not, it's a virus. It's a no, a parasite, they said actually, that it's a parasite leeching off the mother's body.
Oh, are we
That
doing a
because
Matrix? Are we doing a
that's
Matrix?
what they're
Yeah.
claiming, right? They convincing themselves that it is not a human. It's a fetus. It's not actually. It's just a clump of cells. Then it's a fetus, and then once it's out of the body, then it's a baby. But I mean, all of it is null and void. I mean, it still
All,
feels like I've been talking to my son for months, right? I know he knows my voice because I walk into the room and she would tell me, "Oh, he's kicking. He knows you're here. You said
yep.
something. He started kicking right now." And it's like, that's my son who knew it was me, right? I know that there's
Yep.
a human in there.
There's a study, I think at 6 months, the baby is actually able to emulate parents based on their cry, the tone, the decibels, the wavelength, all of it. Yes. Like they're not unintelligent. Again, they
Right.
are they are living entities. Again,
Yeah, yeah.
all of this, like it goes back to the same thing. It is a baby. And when you water down your actions by
Yep.
using terminology that makes you seem like not a monster, people are empathetic because most people are retarded. And well,
You're
retarded is
right.
the wrong word. Most people want to be
No,
liked
no.
and want to
No,
be
no. You're
accepted,
right. You're
which is a
100%.
which is a retarded way to live. Really, really is. It's like, listen, you can push back if you don't like something. As a matter of fact, you should. You
Of
should.
course.
And
Yeah.
maybe you don't get picked up, first for dodgeball, but good lord, like you did the right thing. And it's I'm sorry, it's the hard thing. We got here because a lot of people, boomers, I'm really sorry to the boomers that follow me. Y'all didn't do the right thing or the hard thing.
Yep.
Like the world exists today because you allowed things to happen. And
Well,
now
hold
things
on.
are
I want to add to that, or slightly adjust that, because I feel like a lot of people try to say it to the boomers or Gen X or like whatever, but really it's this cascade of a specific type of person. It's the it's the virtue signaling snowplow um generations, and I say cascading because it's they're in every generation. These
Mm.
people that are living an entitled, comfortable life that society is built to have us be comfortable, right? And it's kind of been compounding and exponentially getting more comfortable, and life is designed to make it easier and live life without dealing with drama and dealing with these things. So we're actually not capable of handling dealing with these things anymore, right? So a lot of these people that are fighting against abortions, I wouldn't be surprised if they had abortions. So they're probably
Oh,
not even able to comprehend, or their brain would shut down if maybe they actually face the fact that they killed their kid,
the
right?
dissonance, absolutely. The
100%,
dissonance
yeah.
they would have to deal with would make them realize, "Wow, I did something bad." But God, isn't that the reason why we are exactly where we are? Like, we make mistakes, and this goes back to what I said. I'm not gonna tell my kids that I did everything right. I'm gonna tell them, "Look, I messed up here, and that's why we're here. And if you listen to me, I swear to God, you can fix this for your kids." We don't take
Yep.
personal responsibility. We've lost the ability to say I was wrong. And I think that is one of the most empowering things that you can ever do. I was
Yep.
wrong. Here's how I got better. Here's how I learned. No
Yep.
one wants to be the person that said, "You know what? I messed up. I messed up." We
It's a
love
hard thing to do.
we love the second half of the story. Like I brought myself up. We never talk about how we got to the point to where we were wrong ever. And I think
Yeah.
that is the meat and the potatoes of learning a lesson, right? It's not what you are at the end of it. It's how you got there along the way. How are you going to know how to get there if you don't understand the pitfalls and traps on the way to doing the bad thing? All we want to do is celebrate the victory. We're very impetuous people. We want to hear the good story at the end. I want to hear exactly how you got there. What are the decisions you made along the way that made you fall? I want to hear that because those
Yeah.
details are what get me to avoid falling in the same way.
So how do we transfer that outside of your family unit? Right now, you have five sons. I have a feeling you're a fantastic father, right? From just talking to you for the past hour, you clearly have a good head on your shoulders and a way of imparting knowledge out. So I'm grateful that you have some sons that are going to be going out into the world with that foreknowledge that I feel like most parents aren't giving their children. But how do we extend outwards? How do we slap an antenna out there and broadcast it and have it actually infiltrate or affect change in out there, right? Because we we need to. You said it earlier, right? You're sick of the. It's not 2 years, it's not 4 years, nothing's going to change. You're sick of the way that people are so short sighted on it, and we need to look forward and make fundamental changes. How do we go there? What do you think on that? Can we?
It's controversial. My opinion on this. We
Okay.
have a very large population that are abandoning institutions, and
Like, it's media,
public ed-
colleges,
public education, right? So schools, the military, uh, police forces, right? When we abandon
communities.
institutions, yes, when we abandon institutions, because and again, the institutions aren't going away. Like, I
True.
can sit here and tell you all day long, like, everyone should homeschool. Everyone should bring their kids home, teach them, spend time with them. Everyone should do that. I am not in disagreement with that. Yet and however, those institutions are not going away.
Mhm.
What do we do for the kids that are captured by the institutions? What do we do for them? Because that is the majority. And
It's
until
true.
the upswing is people are homeschooling, we have charter schools, private schools, the DOE is shut down. Those kids are still the next generation. So when we abandon institutions, we're actually abandoning children. We're abandoning the military. We're abandoning the pillars that hold us together. And then who's left to run them? It's the bad eggs. It's the people who will then rebreed the next generation to do worse than what they're doing themselves. So My thought is if you want to save the next generation, I send my kids to public school and I get a lot of flack for that. Do you know why I send them? Because I'm not raising children, I'm raising men. I'm raising men. And when
Yeah,
they leave my house, they will be confronted with all of the bullshit they have seen in school, in their workplaces, and out in the world. They
yeah,
need to know how to deal with those things in real time as they're growing up. They come from a household where they are educated, where they come home and they understand what their rights are, what they can and can't do, what they should and shouldn't say, and how they should address these things that are happening in public school. Because the kids that are there might never get that message. Who's going to help them? If the
yeah.
idea is these kids are indoctrinated and their households aren't teaching them, who's going to help those kids then? My kids are emissaries. My kids are ambassadors. My kids are missionaries for these children. And
Right.
I don't recommend it for everyone, but my kids, my family, you want to save the next generation. We can't abandon institutions. We need to recapture them because every time we leave them, we forfeit ground. When is the last time we have recaptured territory?
A good
When is the
point.
last time we said, you know what, the FBI is corrupt? You're fucking right, it is. I think we should have the next generation go in there, base as fuck, and take it over, right? Work from
Yeah,
the bottom up. It worked so well for the left. We can hate them all we want. They've got great strategy. They're patient. We're
good
impetuous.
point.
We're impatient. It's generational. You want to
Yep,
recapture the country? You start from the bottom up. You start with your kids. You send them as missionaries. You tell the other kids, it's fake and gay what you believe. These teachers are wrong. You laugh at them.
yep.
Anyway, that's my spiel. That's my speech.
No, you're dead on. They're emissaries. I've never thought about it that way, but you're 100% correct. It's not necessarily about them learning how to deal with the rest of society, which I mean it is. It's more about you're so confident in trusting your sons that when they are confronted with this stuff, they're not going to be swept up, right? They're going to stand with like rocks and have the tide splash off them and maybe shift the direction. And I think that's such a man, honestly, it's like a such a based take to me because it really is like you're confident as a father that you're teaching them to be men. And I love that. And I'm taking notes over here, right? I love that because I mean, I don't think I can homeschool here. I've got to look into that because I'm in a different country, and people have called me a traitor because I don't I moved to Sweden, right? But my wife is Swedish. I live a life online. I'm not close with my family. I've always moved around my entire life, and she is super close with her family. And my son is gonna have a really close knit family with my wife's parents and her brother. And it's like we have a beautiful house in the middle of the woods. And like I didn't run away from America. I still uh, rock this flag. I'm still American. I'm still very proud to be American, and I'm still fighting for America to be strong. And also, what happens in America filters out for the rest of the world.
It
You know,
does. It
I
trickles
I
down.
feel the effects of inflation here all across Europe is hurting right now. I mean, I need America. The world needs America to be that pillar of freedom that it's been for 200 years and to remain. If America falls, the world is falls to turmoil and corruption and
This this is
tyranny.
why I am hesitant to tear down institutions. I mean, look, I
Yeah,
will
makes
you can
sense.
I will talk to you until I'm blue in the face about how corrupt they are and how corrupted they've become. But we are leaders. Like America should be the lead. And
Yeah.
this whole idea of a one world order, well, I don't think it's awful as long as America is the one setting the boundaries and rules. I don't. I feel like what we have is amazing. I
Yeah.
feel like the idea of what we have is amazing. And if that could spread to third world countries and we have free markets and love to see cryptocurrency take off, I
I think it will
I'd
eventually.
be I would be happy with that. I would. I would.
Well, you
I
got you
recommend
got
yeah.
China, you got Russia, you got these countries that would never cede power to America or to a world government, which
No.
is why the World Economic Forum, this new world order, is focused on the West,
Yeah.
because they got the Five Eyes essentially constructing the West to bring it all together. That's why BRICS is growing so strong.
Yep.
They're about to
Well,
take the petrodollar off the U.S. currency, and it's going to
I
disrupt the world.
yeah, well, siege tactics says you shouldn't get all of your products from countries that, you're trying to siege.
Yeah,
Maybe instead of, well, we'd love to have siege tactics and go after China and all these places that are trying to, disrupt the American dollar. Maybe stop ordering all your stuff from them. Maybe
maybe
have
stop
like
ordering everything
yeah,
from China. I mean,
yeah.
everything's made from China.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna set up walls and we're gonna take over this country. You'll also make sure Amazon gets our stuff here in 2 days, right? Like the whole thing is
Same people.
same people,
Same people.
same
Yep.
people. It's ass backwards to be, man.
Mm,
It
yep.
really,
It's
really
true.
is. Everyone wants a quick fix, man. I think we have to go through a very tumultuous time. I
Yep.
don't,
Well,
and
you
I
said it earlier. Well, you said Democrats or leftists, but it's communists, right? Those communists are patient. They've been patient for 50 years. They've been waiting and slowly and integrating and filtering in and taking over from the roots, right? And that's like we need that. We need to learn delayed gratification and be okay with that, and be okay with maybe not even seeing the fruits of it. Like understanding that maybe it's my sons or my son's children that are truly going to be sovereign citizens again, right? Or I mean, I don't see getting rid of income tax in my lifetime. Granted, it was supposed to be temporary. Remember that? You know that? You know that, chat? Yeah. We'll see how long that lasted, right? Now it's basically just a staple.
yeah.
And property tax, how about that? Like,
Mhm.
there's so many things like we're
The
not sovereign
TSA,
anymore.
yeah, the
We're not
TSA,
sovereign
yeah,
citizens.
the NFA, like name anything the government's ever done that's temporary. Anything.
100%. Yeah, exactly.
No.
The Patriot Act. Certain, I
I
mean,
I got crap today. I actually got a lot of crap today on my
you
Twitter,
did for
but
what?
like, I mentioned that. So Trump said he wants to limit credit card companies to a 10% rate for interest,
Okay.
and I don't think that's going to work out the way it's supposed to.
Well, it's the same thing as Kamala saying price uh,
Well,
fixing grocery stores. It's
there
like
was a whole
you need a free market or nothing.
there was a whole conversation. We're like, no, debt's not a commodity. It's not a product. It's different. And it's like, well, it's still a private company. Yes, they're backed by by the Fed, but it's kind of still the same. It really is. And how are you going to pass that law to cap
Or-
the credit card companies? Well, that's got to go through Congress. Last I checked, when's the last time they passed a bill to do one thing?
Mm, just looking at the Save Act
I
that
just
was
what's going to come along with that? I always had the same issue with the government. It's like, look, I understand you're hurting, but we're here because a lot of you voted the way you did. Because a lot of you
true.
don't have real convictions. Because a lot of you said it was easier to do this thing. I'm telling you, the only way through this is doing the hard thing. It's having convictions and saying, I can't do that. This goes against my moral foundation. And look, it may wind up that you're on the trains. And I don't know how else to say that in a polite way, but that's may where you end up. But
Yeah.
you believe in what you say. Do you mean what you say? Because what I saw in Germany is a very small percentage of people believed in what they said, and they made it
Yeah.
happen. And they made it happen. I think if we had, God, it's so horrible to compare Nazi Germany to like a good movement. I'm not doing that, but still, 1% of the population says, I believe in a good thing. I want this good thing to happen. Obviously, there is history saying we can make this happen.
Yeah.
So maybe people with convictions just have to be louder. Maybe,
We don't even have to go that far back. I mean, just look at the past 20 years. Look at the screeching that the leftists have done to make the systemic changes in culture, right?
yeah,
I mean, that if you think about the percentage of people that actually care about these issues, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. They're just
yep,
louder. They're just
yes.
making noise, and the companies are going, "Oh, is that what? This is what they're saying. This is what we're hearing. Let's
Well,
make
look at
these changes."
I grew up in church, and when I grew up, it was It was very like, we don't talk politics or, or these things in church. And at the dining room table, no politics, religion, no, we sold this idea to ourselves. We're being polite, but in our politeness, we return into doormats,
Yep.
right?
Hmm.
And these people don't care about politeness. We've seen what they do if you don't agree. If you don't agree with them, they will burn your business to the ground. Whether you're
Yep.
flying whatever flag of the
They'll kill
week,
you.
yes,
They'll
they,
kill you.
they will actually kill you. They
Yep.
don't care. They're ideologues. I'm saying if that method worked, and I'm not suggesting anyone go out and burn buildings to the ground. I don't think that's the right way through. But at minimum, if you hear some bullshit being talked around at the water cooler in your workplace, it is incumbent upon you to say that's bullshit. That
Yep.
is not true. That is categorically not true, and you are
Yep.
wrong. We at least need to do these simple things. We're cowards. We're cowards. Speak up, say something. It is
Yep.
ridiculous we're in this position. This whole thing about the cats in Ohio,
What
I
about
was
it?
told, I was told that people were eating bats, and that's how we got COVID. With zero evidence, people were eating bats, and that's where COVID came from.
Right. That was the original story, wasn't it?
Yep.
The wet
And
market.
then I see videos of people eating cats and dogs in real time, like online, and they're telling me,
Yep.
don't trust those though. That's real evidence. I'm being shown this thing. No, they're actually doing, but don't trust that. Like these are the people telling you what to believe and not to believe. I'm telling
Right.
you, believe in your eyes, believe in your ears. If something is wrong, something feels off, talk about it. Don't be quiet.
Yeah, there's an unbelievable amount of people that just believe what they're being told and what their feelings tell them is right. And they don't, nuance is gone. I mean, actual evidence is gone. I mean, people, like you just said, I mean, people see actual proof and it's not enough. And it's crazy. I was having a conversation with my buddy Gary of Nerdrotic, and he said, if aliens flew down and landed on the White House lawn, and we had cameras out, and Biden, did his little like walk out and like shook the alien's tentacle or whatever, most people wouldn't believe it. They
Yep.
still wouldn't believe it because it's on TV. It's a video. It's
Mhm.
oh, that's CGI. That AI is getting so good nowadays. They wouldn't believe it. But I mean, yeah, it's
No,
pretty
they will.
wild where we're at.
So there would have to be a press conference afterwards with KGP telling them. So the president was there on the lawn, and the alien was of diverse nature. They're here to like. Then they would believe it. Then they'd be like, you know what?
Truly
Yeah, that's
non-binary.
mm-hmm, They would accept that then, but they have
True.
to be told what to believe. It's like, look, it is not hard to look around you and say groceries are expensive. And they're more
Yep.
expensive now than they were before.
Yeah.
Interest rates are high, and they're more high now than they were before. These are numbers. This is a
Yep.
very simple thing to look at.
Categorical facts.
It's I don't know. I don't know. I think a basic math test should be administered before anyone votes.
A competency
I
test.
I, I mean like sixth grade math, not even hard. Not even hard.
Yeah.
Like, like maybe like throw in like an exponent, some multiplication, a little bit of division, you know?
Let's not even. We're not even talking PEMDAS. All right. All right. We're at base level,
Yeah.
or
You know,
maybe PEMDAS.
you gotta
Let's
like,
see.
employ like, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally method into the order of operations. Like maybe
And
just that.
and I would argue for what are the three branches of government?
Oh
Simple,
God. The
simple stuff.
DOJ, the
Straight up.
DOJ.
Honestly, I
uh,
don't think people would even be able to, wouldn't even guess that. I know
mhm.
that's not right, but they wouldn't even get that. You know what I mean?
Well, it's also different now. So it's DHS, which is basically the executive branch. Um, it
Wow.
is. I mean, they definitely changed. Whether they are constitutionally in power or not, it's
Yeah.
irrelevant.
Well, I don't remember where I got this, but the legal illegalities of government are rampant, and
Yeah.
they've found their loopholes, and they are decades dug in to using all of the loopholes to be completely unconstitutional legally, and it's crazy, and Congress, like you said, what the bills that they're going to pass is they're just chock full of pork, and eventually we're not going to be able to do anything. Elon Musk made a joke about this the other day, right? The regulatory stuff, but like that's just regulatory. I'm talking about just living. What
Yeah.
we're 3 felonies a day average? Is that what you said? Like,
Yep.
imagine in 10 years, every time they pass laws, there's so many things. They're just adding what we can and cannot do. It's like, what the fuck are we doing?
Well, no matter what you
Ugh.
do, you're wrong. That's how it works. That's how it works.
Right.
I
Yeah.
do want to see. It would be pretty cool to see AI. I had this idea. What if AI could monitor all of the spending from the government? So
Okay.
instead of the IRS, we have an AI program that tracks every dollar that is spent by every department. And instead of having committees, oversight committees, well, it's very simple. X amount of dollars came in, X amount of dollars came out. Where do they go? Because I'm
Yep.
pretty sure we don't need committees anymore to figure these things out. Because all of that's just kind of show and tell. It's
Yeah.
it's 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 horse and pony, right?
Well,
I think
that's
that would
that's
fix a
the
lot of things.
reported money, right? We're not
Mm.
adding the whole CIA and the dark money, the opium fields in Afghanistan. Do you know that ever since they left in the beginning of Biden's presidency, the amount of opium grown in Afghanistan has dropped from like 75% of all crops to like 1%. It's like,
Yeah,
huh? Oh, that's weird. It's
yeah. It's almost
interesting.
like
Sorry,
Operation
tinfoil
Gladi
hat. Tinfoil
No,
hat.
it's almost like
No, it's
Operation
real though.
Gladio's a real thing or something.
Right? Oh, this guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I'm with
read.
it.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, Wi-Files just did a video
Yeah.
on that.
Not just a guy who moves furniture. I do read a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously you're wizened in. Well, you said you got political in 2020. Was that like what made you get radicalized? Obviously you're a father at the time. So but what was the spark?
It was COVID. It
COVID.
was COVID. Like, obviously, I think the election had serious issues, like
Oh,
very,
100%.
very serious issues. And are we ever going to prove that? No. Should we even prove it? I think it
To
would
me,
cause,
it's been proven time and time again. I mean, I've
well,
gotten strikes.
uh,
I'll say it on my channel. It was a 100% stolen. Trump 100% won that election. They definitely cheated in Arizona, in Pennsylvania, in Georgia, in Wisconsin, in Michigan, all these different states. They definitely cheated to take the swing states. It was so obvious.
if I knock on my kid's door,
Yeah.
right, at like 10 o'clock at night, and I'm like, hey, what's going on in there? I heard noises or whatever, right? Maybe they're
Okay.
on the internet looking at things you shouldn't look at, right? Something bad's going on. And they board up the entire door and be like, no, it's completely fine.
Yeah.
Am I going to walk away confident being like, you know what? I think it's okay. I think it's okay because I trust them to do this thing. The history we've had has been good. So
Yeah.
it's fine. No, absolutely not, right? What I mean to say is if if we prove it legally in a court of law, what is the resolution for that? And I've had this conversation several times. Like, do we go as far as having
Tribunals.
what is the punishment for treason?
We all know what the punishment for treason is.
I Do we go that far? And what would that mean going forward?
I could
And it
name a few people that I feel deserve that, but know that that's a line that YouTube does not allow.
again,
Um,
I'm
but
being
yeah,
careful here.
honestly
Sure.
though, I think I could say I do think there are a lot of treasonous people in government that have purposefully made moves to maintain power and fuck over American citizens.
Yes,
100%.
absolutely. My
And
concern is
yes,
always
sorry,
being
and yes, we absolutely need to have that standard and precedent maintained. Otherwise, what's going to stop future people from going whatever? They got caught.
I
You know what I
guess
mean?
the so my thought is this. Um If my kids got into a fight at school, my first
Okay.
question would be who started it, right? And then
Yeah.
at what degree did they start it, right? Did they put a finger on your chest? Did they shove you? Did they actually take a swing? Did they make contact? There are degrees of what these people did to you that would
Sure.
tolerate my response for what you did to them.
Right. Right.
And if we're talking about tribunals, we're talking about the effect of what treason would look like in a court of law. Are we there yet? That is my question. Because I don't want to be the person who starts the shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, of
And
course. I
so
get it.
that is always my question. Are we there at a point where we can look at what they're doing and say, well, they started it? And it's a very difficult question to answer. If we have a Trump presidency, if he's allowed to run, if he's not assassinated by time he gets there,
They
and
keep
he
trying.
does, yeah, and if he does have, you know, committees come together, investigate things, what outcome can we actually expect? At
Yeah.
what level of desolation are we okay with in our own pillars as a country? Because it's not just a quick revenge, right?
Yeah.
It's how we look on a world stage as well. We
It's a good
start
point.
knocking out we start knocking out pillars of the community, right? Whether they're good or bad or just outright fucking evil. That weakness will be displayed to the world, right? So this is people don't like this take. They actually really, really, really hate this take. They're like, no, string them up. And I'm like, oh, hear me out. That could be really, really bad long term. I think that there are better ways around this. I think removing the cancer is the best way to do it, but you let
Yeah.
that cancer die on its own in a petri dish off to the side, and you expose it to the world. That was the cancer, but we don't go as far as they do. I think finish the fight, but we should not go further than what they fought.
Okay. I mean, I could see why people wouldn't like that take, and I can feel myself going, and then I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, maybe you're right, but I do feel there are certain people that are are actually the direct responsible parties for a lot of American deaths.
I've gone
And
to prison. I've gone to prison for
yes,
what I believe in. If I can have that measured response, that
yeah,
calculated response, you can take a deep breath. You can take a deep breath.
true,
Like, I am just as angry as you are, and you as in your audience. I'm just as upset as you are, and I think that there is injustice at the same level you believe there's injustice, but we have to be very careful how far we push back because we've seen what these people will do. We have
true.
to be calculated. We have to be patient. This is a long-term stretch we have to be reaching towards. You start knocking down a couple of these pillars, you've seen the people they'll activate. You've seen the cities they'll burn to the ground. We have to
Yeah,
be wise about this. We have to be calculated. It's going to take intelligence. It's going to take people who know what they're doing, and it's going to take a long time to get us back to where we are. If you're asking if I want someone to come in a bowl in a china shop, absolutely not. I want someone calculated. I want someone who sees 30 years down the road. The best way to get through this is to not tear things down, but to rebuild them from the bottom up in the way they were supposed to be built in the first place.
yeah. It's a difficult road, but it's the only
Tired of being
option.
on it. Yeah, tired of being on it. I just kind of want to play guitar and play video games and raise my kids.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, yeah. Part of me wants to just like start another channel, just make stuff. I love building things myself. You said you're a carpenter. I love working with wood and metal, making things, and like there's an algorithm for that on YouTube. Like I could easily really devote to that, but
Mhm.
part of me realizes that, and I learned this in 2020. Like once you're an adult, once you realize that these people are making decisions that are affecting you personally, right? They are directing the way that you're going to live your life. So I can't not pay attention. I can't not be a part of the conversation. So,
Yeah.
you can't close that door once you open it. And if you do, you're purposefully turning a blind eye to your own future. And like that's especially now that I have a son, like it's unacceptable to me. So,
Yeah,
I'm going to be
that's
a
true
part of that
evil.
conversation.
That is true evil. I completely agree. I think it's I met a state senator a couple of weeks ago, and this guy is a Green Beret, couple of kids, and I was into his speech, big gala, whatever. I actually was really happy to be there. Texas did not have me. It's fine. They they were given a speech about all the things that were coming into Florida, the laws they're trying to pass. And I mentioned at the table, like, this is making me angry. And the guy looks at me and says, "Don't be angry. Don't be angry. Angry is how you make mistakes.
Mm,
Listen to what's happening. Find out how to change things. You're going to be angry. You're going to rush into things. You'll be the exact person who they say you are. And I mean, you've seen my picture. Like, did I do the things right way the first time? It's debatable. It's debatable. But
yeah.
on a long enough timeline, I actually do want to make a change. I do. I showed up because I think things are bad, things are wrong. We can do a lot better for our children. And I think I had every right to be there and protest. But looking long term, looking in the future, if you want to make meaningful change, you actually want to take a stand and leave things better for your kids, it takes patience. It takes patience.
Yep.
Most of these people who are in power making decisions at a congressional and a senatorial level, they've been there, what, 20, 30 years? We don't have term limits. And those people have been negotiating deals along the way the entire time, rubbing elbows, giving out, favors to PACs and whoever's like, funding their campaigns. But
Lobbying.
maybe they have one good policy they get to put out in their entire lifetime. And that is the most a congressperson or a senator could ever really do. And that's the reality. That is the reality. They have one pet project, and you hope they're good enough. After 20 years, they have the power to present a bill and it gets passed. That's where we are. You want to change that? It starts at a very local level. The people who get to run for Congress, that starts who's on your school board? Who's your county
Yep.
commissioner? What are they
Yep.
doing locally?
Base
Promote
level.
that person, champion that person. Most people we vote for in Congress, I've never heard of them. There's no history for them. There's no background for them. They just
Right.
come out of nowhere, and they're
Yep.
backed by every lobbyist group. They're kissing walls, and
Well, the
you know,
17th Amendment basically changed the way Congress uh, worked with. Let me bring this up. 17th Amendment. So it used to be before it was passed where the states would pick who represents them and sends them, right? And then it all changed, allowing voters to cast direct votes for U.S. senators, and that that would suddenly be able to be manipulated and shifted to like gerrymandering, and then like they manipulate the world to then just lock in who they want chosen, and that's just the way it's been now. And I feel like there's a lot of reevaluating the way we do things, and also like term limits, and there's like all these things that we could do to make lobbying illegal. Also, I don't know how you feel about lobbying. I just think it's ridiculous. The
I
fact that
think
it's illegal.
I feel about lobbying the same way I feel about AI. If America said AI is bad, it's actually
Hmm.
going to tear everything down. We should stop all of it completely. I'm on board with that. The issue is China's not going to stop.
Mm, okay.
The issue
So
is
you're saying
Russia's.
China will continue to lobby?
Hmm. Yes.
Uh, okay.
So, well,
Well, why? If lobbying was illegal, why would China be allowed to
I,
lobby
I'm I'm talking
still?
locally. I'm talking locally. So right versus left. If
Okay.
the right said we're no longer going to lobby, we're going to make it. We're not going to do that. We want grassroots candidates. We're going to be an honest people. Right or left said that. The other side would still lobby. It would have to be
But
a
that would be illegal.
complete. It would have to be a complete. They have to pass that, right? Campaign
Yeah, of
finance
course,
reform.
obviously.
Yes, yes,
Sure.
campaign finance reform. But how do you look into that? Like who
It's a
moderates
good
that,
point. Yeah, I
right?
know. It's a good
I mean,
point.
Zuckerberg, basically bought the last election.
Sucker bucks.
Yeah, he basically bought the
Oops,
last election.
sorry guys. I didn't know. I didn't know how bad Biden was. Frick.
This is Chris Chromo coming out apologizing like, "Jump, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize everything I said was bad." You know, Chris
I can't
Cuomo,
stand that dude.
that piece of fucking shit. I will say that out loud.
By
He
all means.
my attorneys were on with him, I think like 2 or 3 days after I got arrested, after January 6th.
On his
And
show.
uh-huh, they
Okay.
Skyped in, and he was upset that I had the attorneys that I had.
Really? Cuomo
I'm not
was upset.
I will send you the clip. He said, "Why does he deserve you? Why does he deserve that representation?" And it's like,
What the
"Well,
fuck?
I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to be represented by whoever I want to be represented by." That's kind of, and he's a lawyer. This is what's
You're
actually
right.
fucking nutty. Like, what do you
Cuomo is a
even
lawyer.
mean? Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, this is actually crazy to me. But he chastised my attorneys for even representing me in the first place. That was his position on this, that I should not have the best representation going forward
Well,
after I've
that's the
been.
left. Oh, you're gonna actually like use your ability to help somebody on that side? Ugh. Shame on you. That's how they do it though.
Yes. Yep. So people actually, my attorneys are David Bigney and Dan Eckhart. I give them a shout out every single time. These guys are base as fuck. I
Love it.
hope you are never in trouble, like I'm in trouble, but if you need something, definitely get a hold of them. DM me if you need help. But these people, they
Okay.
told me right up front, you're in trouble. This is going to be really bad for you. It's DC. You're guilty of whatever they bring forward. So lawyer up and let's ride. They
Wow.
told me up front, the best win we have is you won't get a felony. You will go to
Yeah.
prison, period. It's coming,
Yeah.
so say your
So
goodbyes. Let's try
wait,
to
but you
minimize.
said you got it down to a misdemeanor and you still went to prison
Yes.
for a
Yeah.
misdemeanor.
Misdemeanor trespassing charge, 3 months in federal prison,
What the fuck?
$5,000 fine, 200 hours of community service, a year
For
of
a
supervised release
misdemeanor.
for a misdemeanor. Yeah.
Fucking bullshit. That's insane.
Pound of
I
flesh.
had a misdemeanor when I was a kid, and like I had communities like I don't know, 40 hours of community service, something stupid.
I had a
Wow.
misdemeanor when I was a kid. I smoked pot when I was 18, and I apologize to all the people who follow me. I did smoke pot when I was 18 years old. I was a teenager. Mistakes were made. I'm so sorry. Had a misdemeanor for that. But when they were going through my court record for sentencing guidelines, they brought that misdemeanor charge up. It was
Oh my goodness.
it was like a roach, like a little paper clip, just nothing.
Yeah.
That's what I got arrested for, and it was
They're
that,
like,
and
see,
also
he's not a first time offender.
they brought
Three
up my
months.
they brought up my traffic record. He also has a couple of speeding tickets. I'm
Oh my
not kidding.
goodness.
This is how they tried to track my character. He's got speeding tickets and he smoked pot 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
Horrible
yeah,
father.
yeah, yeah. 3 months in prison, off with you.
Wow. That's crazy.
Is it though? Is it though?
Well, no, in a reasonable person's mind, yes. But
Yeah.
in the person who understands the world and the reality that exists today, it's not that crazy. In fact, you got off light compared to a lot of people. I mean, you
I
said it
really did.
earlier.
I really, really did.
Yeah.
Um, it's hard. So I'm writing a book. It's almost done, and I have been stalling writing about the chapters where I'm in prison, and
Okay.
it's because my book is it's full of jokes. I want it to be lighthearted because that's how I deal with things,
Yeah, yeah.
dark humor and such. But I have a hard time joking about being in prison because people are still in prison,
Right.
so it's difficult
It's not
to
just you.
it's not exactly, and
Yeah.
that's I guess it's the hardest thing is it is just it's not just me. It's so many people who are still suffering. I was in DC a few months ago and uh they have a prayer down at the jailhouse in DC. People who are still being held there without
Yeah.
trial, who have been in isolation for years now with no trial, which is an
Wow.
affront to the justice system in general and at large.
Yep.
And I was there when they released someone who had been captive for years, years. And I don't care what your charge is. I mean, again, caveat, unless you're a pedophile, I don't care what your charge is. To hold someone in isolation is it's a constitutional violation.
Yeah.
It is of the eighth. Like we shouldn't be doing these things. And I don't know. I struggle with I don't want it to be about me. There are a lot of J6ers who really want to make it about them and want to be on the high horse and the front man. Dude, I just want to feed kids. And if I get to meet some cool people and make some jokes along the way, I'm good.
Yeah.
It's been a good life.
Respect. I like it. Well, it's been an hour and a half already. I see a bunch of super chats and some questions and stuff came in, so I'm going to get to those. But before I even do, I just want to say it's been a pleasure talking to you. I really like your reasonable takes. You're obviously a well informed guy and um, a patriot, and I respect that a lot. So thank you for joining. And honestly, I'd love to have you back some other time. I mean, today has been more just getting to know you, but if you want to come back, I mean, you're always welcome on my show. When you finish your book, you can come and we'll broadcast it out to the world.
Fantastic. We should host a book burning party. We'll just get ahead of
Okay.
it. Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I got blocked by Dave Rubin. He doesn't like me because I'm against gay men buying babies, and I'm quite vocal about that. But I have his book. All right, I somehow ended up with his book, and the name of the book is called "Don't Burn This Book."
Oh,
So I've been saving it because I'm like, I'm gonna burn this. I want to burn this book, and like it's just sitting there. So you want to have a book burning? Like I've got the perfect book.
I love it. I actually bought I go to the flea market with my kids a lot. My oldest works with a shop at a flea market. He repairs PlayStations, Xboxes, computers,
Cool,
things that
dope.
are broke as a side hustle. Yeah.
I like
Cash
it.
only. We don't pay taxes. Go fuck yourself, IRS. Um, so
Hmm.
so there's a whole bookstore there. I bought probably 20, 30 of Obama's biography. And I actually
Okay,
So I'm using that as packing paper for the lecterns. So I'm
that's
tearing out pages
hilarious.
and crumpling them up and using them as packing paper. So that way the book is useful for something.
That's great. I love that. That's pretty funny. That's
It's good
good.
stuff. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for the support. I'm going to read these chats now. I appreciate all those coming in. Also, I want to give a shout out to whoever bought me the 100 pack of diapers. I don't know who you are, but so I have a throne list that people can buy me things online and it gets shipped directly to my house. And someone bought me a majorly huge pack of diapers, and I'm looking right now and it's anonymous. So whoever bought that big, huge pack of diapers, it's literally 100 diapers. They arrived today, and my wife looked at me and she was like, "We needed diapers. This is like so." Whoever sent those, please give some thanks. So I don't know who you are, but thank you. And my wife thanks you, and my son thanks you, but also I do. So I appreciate you a lot. Thank you very much. Yeah, I got a great chat. V6 Neon for one says breaking Oklahoma officials just announced that they have removed 450,000 ineligible names from the voter rolls, including 100,000 dead people and 15,000 duplicate registrations that got into systems. Well,
Mm,
Arizona did the same thing. They removed 100,000 names that were ineligible because they couldn't prove citizenship.
mm.
But I
So
don't know if you knew this.
how did they get into?
Good question.
Because that
How did they
seems
get
like the system
how did
is
they get
set
to
up to
first? Well, I'll
bring as
tell you.
many.
So I'm not going to be able to get back. So I'm going to vote absentee
Okay.
via Arizona, and I did all the paperwork last week, and I talked about I was filling out the form, and in the form it says if you need to prove your citizenship, and then at the very end in parentheses it said if you cannot, you can't vote for state electors, but you'll still be sent federal offices.
Yep.
So you can literally vote for federal offices in Arizona, even if you're not a citizen. And it's like
Joel
it's
Berry from Babylon B covered this probably 6, 7 months ago. These
yeah,
states who say they have a good election laws, but he's like, no, if you actually read it, it's not good. So shout out to Joel Berry, always giving the hard truth.
Yeah, all those people at Babylon Bee are amazing. These guys are great.
I just met with him months ago. I'm actually in their movie
Who?
coming out soon.
Wait, which one? The
It's
January
a
6th movie.
January 6th mockumentary. So,
Oh shit! I saw the trailer. It looks so good.
all right.
Yes, I
Truth
think I
be
saw you
told,
in the trailer, right?
I had beef with them probably a year and a half ago. They kept calling me a
Tell us.
thief. They kept calling me a thief. They actually, and I
Legally
said, well,
speaking, you are.
but I was charged, not
Ah!
prosecuted, so that
Oh,
charge was
good point.
dropped.
Good point. All right, touche.
Just saying, just saying. Um, so I may have made a comment because they produced a book that called me the Lectern thief inside of it, and
Ah.
Andy and Lydia Liederman sent me a picture of it, and I
Uh-huh.
was like, all right, I have to address this. So I tagged them. I said, hey, you guys are hilarious, but maybe stop calling me a thief. You're better than this. I
Mm,
worked really hard to not be called a thief because I'm not a thief.
yeah.
So maybe there's a separate joke in this. So we had a big beef back and forth. Joel Berry reached out and um, they're doing this mockumentary. This was years before it was actually like come to fruition. He's like, "Do you want to come out and be in it?" And I was like, "You know what? That's a great olive branch." So
Yeah.
I went out and met these guys. These guys are awesome. Like they are the most down to earth people that I've met in all of my them and Alex Stein. Alex Stein is a fucking gem.
Yeah, he really is.
He really is.
He is.
So he's
Very smart too. I feel like people
holy
don't
cow.
understand how smart he is. Like
His
he's a
wheels are
sleeper.
His wheels are always turning. The conversation you're
Fast.
on, he finished like 3 sentences before he even spoke. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
But the Babylon Bee guys, they were awesome. They were down to earth. They gave me a chance to be in the movie and very cool guys. So
That's good.
we buried the hatchet.
That's cool. I'm sure I should probably bury the hatchet with Lydia and Andy.
You know
They
what?
don't like
Life is
me very
short.
much.
Life is short, dude. Look, there are
Well,
people you
I'm
can
blocked by them both, so I don't know.
there are people
Nothing I
that
could do about it.
I just talked with them today. There are other people that you should have actual tension with. I think most things that we have discord with, it's an argument that could probably be settled, over a non-alcoholic beer. I don't really drink anymore. An alcoholic beer and like hey, things got heated, but
Yeah.
there's a lot here. We should make amends. The right
You know
loves
what?
attacking the right.
For the record, chat, I would make amends with Tim, but I don't think Tim would want to reach out. I think he feels betrayed by me, which is really sad because I don't think he actually watched my video. Don't worry about it though. That's a
It's
lot
good.
of history there.
I've been on Tim Pool 3 times now,
Oh,
and
okay.
I didn't find Tim until after you were on.
Yeah.
So I'm late in the game. I don't
Yeah. Well,
actually know what
we
happened.
didn't have any guests when I was on. It was just me and him. It
Okay,
was just
so
our show. And
yeah,
then once I left, then he started doing his new format, which is what's happening now.
I
So,
won't can of worms things. I can say, and I say this about anyone who gave me a chance to speak. This
mhm.
is Josie, Redhead Libertarian. This is Clint Russell,
Oh
Liberty
yeah.
Lock
Oh,
Pod.
those guys are great. Yeah.
This is Luke Radowski.
Clint's awesome. I like Clint a lot.
This
And
is
Luke.
Tower King Jose. I mean, I could go on and on and on about people
Yeah.
who gave me a chance to speak. I think the Conservative Party is shrinking every single day, and we're very good at wanting to hold the conch and not realizing that if all of us hold the conch, many generals on the field, we could do more good.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what transpired with you or Tim or everything. I can tell you that Tim gave me a voice when I had no voice.
Yeah.
And because of him, there's at least a couple 100,000 people who know I didn't steal shit and that I
Yeah.
was dragged through the goddamn mud. And I'll thank you for
Oh,
the same thing.
dude, I have a platform because of Tim. I owe a lot to Tim. I don't, people like to think that I have this like resentment or deal with Tim. Like, really, it was just like we were friends and he chose business over friendship. And it's sad. I don't resent him for it because I love my life. I love where I'm at. I have a beautiful life. And I have an amazing uh following. You know, so like I'm so grateful. So like I wouldn't change anything because I
Yeah,
love where I'm at, right? So like how could I be upset with the way things have worked out, right? So um
it's hard. So
and
I've
I think
seen.
he does great work, right? I'm happy he's successful, right? People I think are just not no, it was Lydia. No, no, no. She played a part, Diana. That's we don't have to get into the details.
So
Anyway,
everyone's here for that now because we brought it up. But I guess so. You are kind of I'm gonna tiptoe eggshells here. I think a lot of the influence culture, right? They People are more fascinated when we fall than the things we're building.
good point.
Because I've seen videos, I've seen comments. I'm actually good friends with Lydia and Andy, and I'm really
Mm,
happy to meet you. I think I'm decent friends with Tim as much as he's able to have friendships. You know,
yeah.
he's kind of in his head, but
It's an
love the dude.
interesting way of putting it because you nailed
Yeah,
it. Yeah, you're
and
right on that. Yeah, which
I
is it's
accept
kind of
people.
sad actually, but anyway, go ahead.
I accept people where they are. Like I don't enter a relationship expecting people to change because I need something different.
Yeah,
It's, you are who you are, and if it works out as friends, cool. That's cool. We'll
yeah,
get a beer or not get a beer or whatever. I won't fault you for who you were when I met you. And
respect.
if you want me along with the journey, fine. Sounds like fun. I think, but back to this, people love the controversy. They want to hear the only clips I've seen or the only like ads I've seen on YouTube about you and Tim is like it's a tell all or what you don't know about
Drama
this and
revealed. It's
it's
like,
it's
oh
it's
gosh,
it's all fake and gay. Look,
100%.
if you are friends, if your only friend is the dude you grew up with in elementary school, I would say you did not branch out enough in life and meet new people.
Right.
Sometimes you're not friends with the same people you are a few years after you meet them, and that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
You're an adult. You're not married. People grow apart, and that's okay, and that's fine. But the desire for the people on our side to see people shitting on each other because they want to see their idols torn down. Fuck, man. I know a lot of other idols that people hold up that I want to see torn down first. At
Yeah.
least people out here are trying to do a good thing,
I think it's a
right?
social contagion that instinct, that desire to, and it's this problem where people are too busy consuming over creating, and they're wanting to tear other people down. It's usually the people that are creating, because like
Yeah.
they they see they maybe there's this like subliminal thing that where they feel not necessarily inferior, but or maybe a jealousy, but there's this desire to like, if I pull you down to where I'm at, I don't have to feel as bad about not trying to get to where you are, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
could be wrong. I don't know. And it's probably not every case either. So,
And I think
yeah.
there's a as my page continues to grow, my influence continues to grow. Like I have to keep myself in check. Like I know I have a streak towards narcissism. I think I'm awesome.
I think
Ask
we all
anyone,
do.
they'll tell you. Yeah, they'll tell you I'm awesome because I told
Yeah.
them I'm awesome,
You seem
right?
pretty awesome. To be honest.
Well, thanks. But I have to keep that in check too because again, I never want to be in a place where I'm living my life where a person I just met can't see something I did in real time that's actually shitty. Say, bro, that was shitty.
Yeah. Good point.
I don't. I refuse to live that way because I want to be a real person, and I
Yeah.
find it. And you must know this because again, you've been doing this a lot longer than I have. I find it increasingly difficult to be that person. I feel like in a lot of respects I lose that sometimes because if I don't get the clicks and likes and I don't promote the page, then my chair doesn't grow, and I hate that part of it. It actually
Oh man.
frustrates me.
Well, there's a fine line between being narcissistic and being confident in this new realm of being an online influencer or a content creator. I have definitely wrestled with it. I can't stand it when people are so clearly just doing things for likes and posting things and stealing other things that and getting their own versions out there because of the monetization on X and the monetization systems of YouTube. And I'm like, I'm not doing it because I it makes me feel like a slut. But at the same time, this is my profession. I need to
Yeah,
do that. And I'm like, I hate it though because I
I
don't
know.
like doing clickbait shit. I don't want to do that. I want to just talk about stuff that's happening. And YouTube's like, no, that doesn't work with our algorithms. And by the way, you have 13 strikes. We're going to suppress you as much as possible. So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
ever
As
since
the group,
January 6th, straight up, I've been losing 850 subscribers a month since January 6th, 2021. I was 199,000 subscribers. I was just about to hit 200K. And I've been just going down. People tell me all the time. Superman, if he wasn't scared of Greenox, just told me, he's like, yeah, I was unsubscribed from you. My own mother has been unsubscribed 3 times. And
yep.
it's like she
I
watches
get
my show every
DMs
single day.
every single week saying, Twitter unfollowed me from you. I can't find your stuff. And
Yep.
I try not to get caught up in it because I feel like, look, my intentions, and God, it sounds so lame. I'm actually a good guy. like I,
Uh-huh. That's what they
I'm
all
actually,
say,
I'm
buddy.
actually a good guy. I actually want to feed kids and take care of people. And I know
Yeah.
that sounds really fake and gay, but look, I could shut all of this off and have a great life. I'm doing okay. Life is good, but
Yeah.
I actually want to do good. And I feel like there are so many duplicitous measures out here and so many just people getting in the way. It's like, man, I'm not trying to take your space. I
Right.
think we need a lot of generals on the field. I'm not trying to take your space. I'm saying we should be tearing other people down. The group effort, the group collective to take the left down, the socialists down, is such a better war cry and rally
Yeah.
than going after the right. And I think
I th-
YouTube actually promotes videos like that, where Adam Crigler gives the real story behind Tim Pool. I
yeah.
think that is part of the algo to tear all of us down, and we should
Yeah.
stop
It's true.
subscribing to that. We should stop
Well, I mean,
subscribing to that.
it's funny because I did that one time in fuck, I don't remember, October of 22. So 2 years
It
ago.
still pops up on the feed. It
And it's
still pops up on the
crazy. I mean,
feed.
and I didn't do it for money. I Rick rolled everyone at the very beginning of the video just because I knew people were going to watch it. And instantly, I didn't get, it's one of my biggest hits on my channel. I didn't do it for money. And it's not monetized because of that video, because of the Rick roll. But it's worth it, right? Because I just wanted to tell people the truth about, like, I didn't get fired for. Uh, there were so many rumors about everything. I just wanted to clear the air and move forward, and also face. I mean, we talked about abortion a little bit, and part of the reason I was fired is because Lydia was very anti-abortion, right? Very pro-life, and Tim and I were both pro-choice at the time. And for me, I had had an abortion, or at least the a girl I was with, but it was my child, and I had to
Well, it's
face.
not your body or your choice, so someone else.
Right. Well,
Sorry,
I mean,
I
but
make
to
jokes.
have no, I understand, but to have Lydia, it was there was a shift happening in my brain as I was being politically aware. I was also seeing all this conversation about abortion because for some reason it's a political issue, right? And it's been forever. And I was being bombarded because to talk with Tim on a daily basis, he's very smart. He's very aware. He's got like a freaking photographic memory. The dude is like an encyclopedia of what's happening. He's not always right, but he's very opinionated in certain ways. So I was doing all this research, and in doing so, I was like realizing that maybe it was murder. Maybe I did allow this to happen, and I was like conflicted in my brain, right? And I snapped one time because the way that Lydia was shoving her disdain at me for people who had abortions. And it was like a stab to my heart, and I kind of
Yeah,
blew up. And for me to tell the world what happened, I had to come to terms with it and forgive myself. Right. So
yeah,
that was why it took so long. And it was just like this. It wasn't just Tim. It wasn't just me telling the world what happened there. It was me also explaining myself moving on and growing up, and like honestly talking to men who were in my position, because I feel like that's not talked about enough, that men
It
feel the
isn't.
pain of that also. And it's unfair that men aren't getting a say in the conversation. They're just
It's
completely sidelined, and I think it's
it is half
completely
of them.
atrocious.
It
hundred
is
percent,
half of them. It is half of
100%,
them.
or fifty
And
percent,
again,
I guess.
well, yeah, well, yeah, 100%, 50%. Yeah,
Yeah,
math is hard. But I don't. Again, like I don't fault people for. If we could take back every wrong decision we made, the world would be a
yeah,
very boring place. It would be
true.
Pleasantville. It would be
Yeah, I
Pleasantville.
made a
You
lot.
know.
You know what? I'm just gonna say it. All right. I liked Lydia. I say past tense because it was 2020. We were locked in that fucking small, tiny house. Someone kept eating my damn food. I fucking hated it. We had I couldn't escape. And Lydia and Tim were teaming up on me on and off camera, and I had had enough. All right. I fucking couldn't stand it. And then Tim's girlfriend moved into the house, and Lydia was being gross about trying to stay being with Tim, and it made me lose respect for her. Okay? Maybe she's turned around. She's married now. Hopefully she's happy. I had nothing against her and Tim, all right?
Mhm.
I'm really talking to the audience, I guess, right now. Or if Lydia ever sees this, it's like she knows exactly why I lost my respect for her. And it's because of the way she acted after Allison moved into the house. That's why. I thought Tim and her were actually cute for a while. And it was after his girlfriend moved in, or he got a girlfriend or whatever, and it wasn't Lydia. That's that's why things changed between me and her. All right? But I hope she's happy. I don't hold any resentment towards Lydia. I did for a while because I kind of blamed her, like she was the Yoko. But like in reality, as I said earlier, I love where I'm at. I love you brought Andy and Lydia up, and I did apologize to Andy because he announced that he is Mr. Sour Patch Lids, and I made a joke. I said I'm sorry for your loss on Twitter, and I feel bad about that, and I have apologized to him. Not that he would ever watch my show, but I do feel bad about that. That was kind of rude of me. I
Really,
was an asshole.
dude. I will tell you. Oh God, being an adult is hard.
Yeah, it
It
is.
is. It is hard because the things we say are forever. The things we do are forever. They are,
Yes, the
and
internet.
it sounds like a lot of cabin fever that happens.
Oh
So
yeah.
I travel a lot, or I did for the first 7 months of this year. I was gone every other week. I don't like traveling with people unless it's my wife. I actually hate it. Um,
I get
uh,
that.
yeah. So I did travel with shout out to Native Patriots. If you're on Twitter, you probably follow me. Follow me.
Love that dude. He
Yeah.
seems awesome.
So I have a
I saw
I
your guys' road trip. I'm like, that guy, those guys look like they're having a blast.
so
Please go on though.
the first trip we had was to Texas. It was to one of the range days with Donut and AK guy,
Cool.
and I'm I like my me time. I got 5 kids. I'm married.
Yeah.
I like being by myself when I'm ready to be alone. So we're
Yeah.
traveling together. We're in a car. God, we fly into Dallas. I got a couple of podcasts at the Blaze. We got to drive down to San Antonio, and it's a long drive, and we're
Yeah,
talking
it
the
is.
whole time. And we've been with people all day, and it's probably like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, and I'm ready to be in my room and leave me alone. And he hosts a podcast. He's like, "You should come on," and I'm like, I'm not doing that. My hair is not done. It's been a long day, and I felt horrible about it because I felt like I was blowing him off, and I'm like, I'm not blowing you off. I need an hour over here to myself because I don't travel with people. I actually like being alone, if not with my wife, my kids.
Yeah.
So cabin syndrome, cabin fever, right? It is
The
hard
thing.
being with people over and over again across a long period of time. I
Oh
think
yeah.
I mean, would you chalk up some of it to that?
No, no, I talk about it, and it was so much of it was that. There was 7, 8 people in this
Oh,
four-bedroom house.
ugh.
One kitchen, one refrigerator, 2020, we couldn't go anywhere, right? And it's like I feel like I got no uh leeway, right? I tried like bringing it up too, like as Tim was firing me. I'm like, you realize like this shit is it's like a pressure cooker, right? And like I feel like I'm the one who's now taking all of the blame for this shit when like he said that I blew up on Lydia, and like I don't need to rehash this right now, but it's just absolutely cabin fever. That's what it was. It definitely was that. Maybe I'm misremembering a lot of it. I don't think I am, but I'm not trying to hold grudges or anything. And I hope Lydia's happy, and I hope Andy's happy. I'm
Their
I,
baby is beautiful. She is perfect. I've met her,
that's good.
so
That's good.
positive things. Positive things.
Good. Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't I mean it when I say I'm very happy here and I love
good.
my life. So I wouldn't have my son. I wouldn't be here right now if things didn't happen the way they did. So,
I wouldn't be
right?
here if I wasn't in the capital and
Correct.
went to prison.
Right.
It's
I'm so
it's
happy you went to prison. Wait.
it's perspective, man. It's
No, I
perspective,
get
man.
it. Yeah, for sure.
I could complain, but I am where I am because some things weren't great. But out of the things that weren't great, or the things
Yeah,
that I perceive to not be great, I get to do great things. And I've had great things, so I'm okay.
I like it. All right, we
Sorry.
got totally side. No, no, no. Don't be sorry. I love these. This is great conversations. It's fantastic. V6 Neon for one says huge scandal unfolding in Chicago. Elementary teachers have come forward alleging that administrators instructed them to have to give migrant students a passing grade of 70% in each subject. That is so weird, but
It's not
okay.
it's not that's funding, that's how that works. I was actually
That's
a part of a,
recruitment.
I was part of a rezoning committee for my kid's school district,
Yeah.
and I got to go to 2 meetings before they asked me to not come back.
Okay. They're
They
like,
they
you're a
put
thorn in our plans. You
Uh-huh.
don't. Please don't come back.
They put us in a Title One school, and I said the instructions were to rezone where we don't need to populate all the schools with all of the kids who have extra needs, is how they presented it. And I said, well,
Okay.
that's how the map is being drawn. You're telling me if I don't put all the kids with extra needs, this is, English is not the first language, migratory farmers, they won't get funding. So they get funding based on one school doing very poorly and the rest of the schools looking very good.
I
And they
see.
redistribute all of that money across all the schools, but all the money always stays in administration. So not to not to go through all of that, but
Yeah. Well, I know there's a huge problem in the education system, and
the
I mean, shout out to
administration.
Corey DeAngelis for trying to break that structure down.
Yep.
Although what you said earlier has just stuck with me, though. Not breaking down the institutions, it's taking them back. I think that's really. I think you're onto something. I really think it's smart. We got to
Yeah.
take them over. We got to take them back because they got taken over. They weren't always shit,
Mm.
So I like that. V6 Neon for one says, here we go again. One dead, two injured in Rotterdam in the Netherlands as a knifeman screaming their usual catchphrase of Allah Akbar attacks the public tonight. V6 Neon, you just dropping the news here. Okay. Lord of the Reef for one says, but Adam, the people who blew up the pagers are our greatest ally, so it's okay. Even though they attacked the USS Liberty, danced on 9/11, and have killed more innocent people than Hamas has. Oh, Lord of the Ree, that's a conversation right there. But
Yeah.
anyway,
None of that is untrue.
I know, yeah, but we're not allowed to talk about that.
About what?
B6 Neon again for one says, have your kids while you're young, as when you're older, it's that easy to sneeze and blow your back out. That's true, which is why I've been
Mhm.
biking a lot. I've been trying to exercise. I go out for about an hour every day on my mountain bike. I am surrounded by like miles and miles of woods, just in every direction, just
That
woods.
sounds amazing. That
Oh,
sounds
dude,
amazing.
it really is beautiful. I don't know if you, I try to post a timeline cleanser on
I
X
saw
feed.
today the crick.
I I try to do it as much as possible.
Hmm.
And I'm surrounded by beauty like that. So I just want to just show everybody, just in case you guys didn't see
Perspective.
this. This is about a 10-minute bike ride down the road from me.
Love it.
I live on this river. It's literally on my property. I would say
It looks like Tennessee. Yeah.
it is gorgeous, man. There's crawfish swimming around in there. I could look down and just see them. I could
That's
probably
Tennessee.
grab them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You should.
is
Yeah.
that where you're at?
No, but Tennessee is where I will be.
Oh, okay, like you're gonna move to Tennessee, or
We are probably buying a cabin to retire, or at least be reverse snowbirds.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, nice. Yeah,
I'm in Florida now.
love it.
Love the
I
state.
love Florida.
Yeah, DeSantis is fantastic. What he does, I don't care. He's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like Florida too. I've lived there multiple times. St. Petersburg, also outside of Miami, Homestead.
Yeah, I'm about
I don't know where you're at.
40 minutes south of St. Pete.
Oh, okay.
So
Right on.
Sarasota area. Yeah. Love it.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, I like
I'm
I like that.
doxxed, so I don't really care. And obviously,
Ah.
I mean, it's yeah.
It's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will leave a loaded gun out for you just to make it fun. Yeah. If you want to come stop by.
Good luck. I heard the Florida sheriffs. I know how Florida gets down. That's funny. V6 Neon for one says breaking. Here's some more news from V6 Neon is our resident news snagger.
Love. Is he on Twitter? Does he have a handle?
Yeah. Wait, yeah,
What's his handle?
V6 you're on Twitter, right? I think you are.
If he puts up his handle, I'll give him a follow.
V6, just tell me your name and I'll let him know. I'm not sure if I'm following him. V6 Neon for one says, "Holy crap! Walls just had returned from another trip to China around the time when the manual went missing." Walls' former National Guard colleague alleges classified nuclear manual went missing in Nebraska during his tenure. Huh. So is Walls like being? I don't trust that man.
Have they checked by Biden's Corvette?
Yeah, right. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me at this point. Or in one of his old office buildings that isn't used anymore.
I just
but
I
God forbid a locked room inside the basement of Mar-a-Lago. You know.
Yep.
Jeez.
I understand the hesitation behind wanting to vote in a reality TV star and give him the nuclear codes.
Yeah.
Like I am empathetic to your plight and I understand, like you should, I didn't vote in 2016 for him. It's like, wow, this is the best
Same.
we have, a murderer or, this guy, so are we really going to trust nuclear codes to Kamala Harris? I really,
oh my God, that's a scary premise.
Can you imagine her sitting down, having any type of communication with other foreign leaders?
I can't imagine her or comprehend her having communication in general because I have yet to see it.
If anything, like we don't have a president right now, so I guess if you are complacent with the idea that there is no real leader and the people in charge are not the president, so it doesn't matter if the president can meet with world leaders or not, and that's how you're voting. I guess at least you're being consistent.
Yeah.
But holy fuck, man. Jesus. Like
I know. It's crazy, dude. Oh man, I am afraid of a Kamala Harris presidency. Like I was really sad when Biden won or when Biden took the presidency. We'll just say that. Because I mean, I've said it earlier. I mean, Trump won for sure, but he's not president. Biden's president. Well,
hear me out, though. Can you imagine a State of the Union from Kamala Harris? Just
yes, I can. And holy shit, it's a lot of 50% laughing. 50%. Go ahead.
I love memes and I love humor, and part of me wants her to win just so I can have like.
All right, that's our interview. Thank you very much for coming. That was great. No.
just one State of the Union, just one, just for comedy's sake. Give her the microphone. Yeah, keep talking.
Oh man, that is so scary to think about. I don't even want to face it.
Oh,
No,
good lord.
we made that joke with Biden. Like, man, how funny would a Biden presidency be? And it's like, now that we've witnessed it, it was not that funny. I mean, yeah, we got some ice cream memes, and he fell off he fell up the stairs, and off the bike one time, and okay, but man, oof, that bank account, man, ooh, that's rough.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's rough. V6 Neon for one says UN this Saturday, quote, pact for the future. The UN is going to give more power to the UN. Also, UN has just voted yesterday on forcing Israel off more of its land, giving it to Islamists, and Israel genocide coming. Oh my goodness, I don't know. Yeah,
Can
that's a
we
whole
just
conversation. I'm not an expert. I don't know what's going on. I know a lot about Ukraine. I know a lot about the history of Ukraine, what the CIA did in 2014, and like the lead up to. I've had a few different experts on my show that have explained different situations about that. But the whole Israel Palestine thing, I am removed from. I can only do so much politics before I'm at my limit.
I think it's actually pretty simple. Um,
Is it?
they don't like each other. They will
Yep.
never like each other. So I
Yeah.
am I am at a shit or get off the pot type of place
Hmm. Okay.
where it's like, look, you guys keep saying like, this is the last time. Well, fucking do something or don't do something. I'm honestly bored at this point. Can I
Yeah.
stop sending my tax dollars over there
Or
now?
your sons to go fight for them.
Please, for the love of God, one of you just finish it. And I'm honestly indifferent. I don't care. I honestly don't care. That's probably going to ruin my congressional run or whatever. But I don't care. I don't care. I see
Only
my
never
neighbors. My
mind. I'm
neighbors
not gonna
can't
say
afford.
that.
My neighbors can't afford groceries. My neighbors
Right.
can't afford groceries. My kids. I got three in high school. When I was growing up, every single junior and senior had a vehicle they could drive to school. It was
Yeah.
a it was a status quo thing because
Yeah.
you could spend $2,000 and get a car. Holy
Get a
cow! You
beater.
got a license. Yeah, right. You get a beater. You go to school. That doesn't exist. That car lot, that parking lot at my kid's high school is empty. It is
Wow.
empty. It
I
is
believe it.
empty. It's empty. I'm over sending my money to other places as we fail. So
Yep.
you want my empathy? You want me to feel bad about what's going on? Well, as soon as my kids can eat, as soon as my kids get their status quo that I had, I can
Yep.
then worry about your kids. But there is an order of operations here. It's very
Yep.
simple.
America first.
It's me over
Period.
you. Sorry. I apologize, but I also don't
So it should
apologize.
be. So that's like, and to me, that's not narcissism. I think taking care of your own is so important. When your own is, I mean, the fentanyl issues, the 22 a day, 22 veterans a day commit suicide. Like
Yeah.
there's so many issues in America that need to be taken care of, that tax dollars should be going to America. Like how the fuck is America giving out so much money to the rest of the world when it the dams, there's like 3,000 dams across America providing power that are that have a 50-year shelf life, that are like 60 to 65 years old. Right? Those dams are all going to start crumbling. Like the infrastructure of America is just absolutely shot, and it's just like it's being propped up by like a crumbling infrastructure. And it's no one's focused on making America, reinforcing America. And
Well,
man, I mean,
I
I,
will
I
tell
said a
you,
thousand cogwheels, you know what I mean? It's just there's so many different problems that need to be addressed.
it is not the people who are against this. And I will say it over and
Correct.
over again. I think it is the people who are outraged by it. Well, it's very simple. Why is Dan Crenshaw holding office?
Great point.
Why is Mitch
Why?
McConnell holding office? Why
Because
are
they
these
they they convince kids that to be influencers. They convince them to be YouTubers and Twitch and gamers and online and social media, when they are just I use the term grooming. They're no, I mean that's what they're doing. They're grooming their own people to take their own place and keep the power amongst themselves, right?
Yeah.
And that's really they're keeping everyone separated when in reality everyone should be involved in politics.
Yep.
Everybody should have a conversation about it. There should be everyone should be vying to be a senator, a, a a judge or a sheriff, a freaking city council member, all these things. They've just it's almost like they block it out of the opportunities for people. Like, you don't need to do this. We've got this.
Well, it's again, it's civil service. Doesn't pay well. It's a lot of hours. It's extra. Most people who are in local positions have to work a full time job plus give up, every other Wednesday, 6 months
Right.
out of the year. It is a sacrifice, and it goes back to the same thing. I People don't care about the next generation, but that's what we should care about. It's not a
Yeah.
4-year fix. Adam,
And
I have
and I go ahead, please
go ahead. No,
finish.
no, you had a
I
closing thought.
I know I was just gonna add. I know there's people out there that get upset when I talk about people without kids, because I know that there are, of course, exceptions to that rule. Just because you don't have kids doesn't mean you don't care for the future. It doesn't mean you're not a good person trying to fight for a better future for the I because we kind of had this conversation earlier, and I know that there's always someone that's like, well, I don't have kids and I care about the future and I try to be a good person. I know that you exist. The person out there that I'm talking about, of course, there are people out there that exist, but the people that are willing to, no, the people that that desire power over others, that don't have kids, that don't have a, when you want power, it's usually coming from a place of maybe narcissism, maybe power tripping. I can't think of exactly the word, but I don't feel like that pertains to you, right? The person who's still trying to do good even though they don't have kids. You know what I'm trying to say?
I do. I think it's their only legacy is themselves and the whatever the equivalence of their life amounts to.
Hmm.
When you don't have something to pay forward, process forward, whatever you do is the most meaningful thing possible. So in that, I don't think it's narcissism. I don't think it's selfishness. I
Yeah.
think it is well, this is all that I have, and there's not going to be more of me. So whatever I am is most important. Whatever I'm doing is most important. And I don't whether it's a conscious decision or a biological decision, I definitely separate the two. But if your conscious decision is to not have kids, I'd have to ask you why to get a baseline of where you're coming from with that. I don't
Yeah.
that I also don't think that everyone should have kids. I mean, because you've met humans before,
Yeah.
so
I know some people that I can't even comprehend being parents. Like for me, it was a no-brainer. Like I've been wanting to be a dad forever. Like, I love
this
it.
is why I tell everyone practice modesty, man. I think that
Yeah.
if the world pushed more towards modesty,
Hmm.
like it's if you lived your life such a way to where the only attractive thing about you were the only commodity you have as a woman was sex and look at my body, you would actually have a higher worth socially, culturally, intrinsically, like all through you. Like you should not dress like a whore in public. Period. You shouldn't. That should be something for your husband. And if you want a
Agreed.
husband, you want a good guy, you should really lean towards being that person before you meet him. And also for men, my battery is running low. Also for men, it's like why do you demand these things of women publicly? Like you denigrate them, you demoralize them. And if it's I think it's a power thing for men. You should you should love your wife as the way that Christ loved the church. You should
Yeah.
respect them. You should build them
But
up.
but I but that's I think that's a slim margin of men that are like that. And it's
We
the
should
ones that,
demand men be that. That's
well,
that's incumbent upon us to
yeah,
tell
of
men you're
course.
acting
Sure.
retarded.
Yeah. But there's a dynamic that we have no control over, and that's the attraction levels of people. Humans, I feel like it's not talked about enough. Like people being hot change how people act around them, right? Attractive women and attractive men tend to get more women and men. Like it's just the nature of life, right? So there's
Yes.
a percentage of men that women go for, and they know it. Those men tend to know that they have that ability to just whatever. So women, it's this subconscious fight for that. All animals do it, man.
Yeah.
That's what life is about. It's about procreating
To
and
be
fucking
desired, to be selected, to
to procreate because that's inherent in all animals. All animals on the planet. Fuck, survive, and don't get eaten, don't get killed, and fuck and eat and survive. Like literally, that's the cycle of all animals. We just are a lot more complex because we're aware of ourselves,
I
but
wanna
our
pick
instincts are still the same.
I wanna pick this up exactly where we're
Yeah,
leaving off. My laptop's gonna die. I had to
man,
move
I
my my
I
things.
love chatting with you,
Yeah.
man. You are a fascinating man. I feel we're on the same, very similar wavelengths. We're the same age. We're from the rare era of understanding what life was like before social media. We have a very interesting viewpoint on the before and after because we witnessed the change throughout our life as we grew up.
Mhm.
Where can people follow you? What are you doing? I'm going to read these super chats. Even though we're about to lose them, but please come back. Let's have you back on, and we'll continue chatting about life. This has been fantastic. So,
Yeah, I love it. Yeah,
yeah,
it's been a great time. I'm exclusively on Twitter, at Lectern Leader. That's Lectern
in the
Leader.
description.
Yeah, not on Facebook or Instagram. I'm just here. Charity website should be up and
Easy.
going in the next few weeks. We're just raising money for kids. I would like to at least take care of 25 families this year for Christmas.
I
So,
love that.
if you want to be a part of that journey, come follow me, and more to come.
Keep me posted too, because I have an audience. I feel like I have a decent size following that I would love to help push that message because that sounds awesome, man. So yeah,
Well,
thank you very much.
yeah, Adam, love it, man. Thanks so much.
All right, I'll talk soon.
All right, take it easy, guys.
All right, bye. That was fantastic. What a freaking G. I feel like we've been friends for a long time, me and him. I got along so well on multiple levels. And what a great conversation. Thank you for everyone who's if you had any questions for him, I do apologize. Metastep, what were you freaking out about earlier? I feel like you were spamming chat. You were upset about something. Are you good? Are you good, dog? What's happening? He did have good vibes. He did have good vibes. All right, let me catch up here. Thank you guys very much for all the chats. And by the way, someone just bought just a bunch of stuff. Like 37 minutes ago, someone bought me like how many diapers here? Just like 300 diapers. And it's anonymous. Who was it? Somebody just bought me 300 diapers. What? Oh my god. Holy shit. I don't know who it was. Why am I not hearing music? Hold on. Okay, there we go. Yo, whoever did it. Who was it? You are amazing. Thank you so much. Insane. 300 diapers. No, more. Wait a minute. 350. 350 diapers. And some so much stuff. Some wipes, some baby towels. I'm just blown away. They bought all of the gifts. There's no more baby stuff. Thank you so much. Metastep, don't go, dude. I'm just kidding, man. Wait, why are you upset? Just because you see my name a lot doesn't mean I was spamming? What? Bro, Metastep, I have no idea what you were saying. I was reading. I wasn't reading. I was talking to somebody. I was having a conversation. What? Are you tripping, dude? Holy shit. God, don't make me take the wrench away. Cuz I'll do it. Oh, I will take that wrench away so fast. McClark 76 for 1 says just because you don't have kids doesn't mean you don't give a shit. All right. Well, you're the one of the people I was talking to earlier. D6 Neon says MAGA takeover at Penn State. Maybe there's hope for Gen Z after all. Excuse me. I believe it. Gen Z is actually based. Yeah, they're going to change the world. Ryan Hinnard for 5 says I think all the elections have been rigged to some extent and both parties are dirty. 2020 was just the first one most of us found out about. Check out the Battle of Athens in 1946. Ryan, I 100% believe you and agree with you. Definitely. Definitely. Samson Barber for $20. Hey, thank you very much, Samson Barber. Says, tell us what excites you about the future. Well, unfortunately, Adam, the Lectern guy, had to leave. His battery was dying on his laptop. He moved closer to his modem. But I'll tell you what excites me about the future. First thing that comes to my mind is my son. I have a 3-week-old son. He is incredible. He is my future, and I could list. I can go on for days about the things that I'm excited about doing with him, showing him the world, and teaching him, and living my life with and for him. But as far as, I mean, oh man, there's so many things. We're going to be walking on Mars soon. We're going back to the moon or to the moon for the first time, and depending on what you believe, doesn't matter. I think that there's a shift in the way that a return to individual sovereignty, right? Like people like Adam, the Lectern guy who was just on the show, just the way he was talking, the way he was breaking down the reality of the world, and just the way he's seeing it. I mean, he has 5 sons that I don't know what's after Gen Z. Is it Alpha? Is it resetting, right? Gen X, now we're at Z now, so it's going to be, is it Alpha? Anyway, the next generation when they come in, I mean, we're seeing he's going to make a difference. He's definitely going to change the world. His kids are going to change the world. I think I'm looking forward to that. So there's a lot I'm looking forward to, Samson. I hope you're looking forward to some stuff too. Diana Francisco for 5 says, Adam, do you have long hair? Do you have long hair to get it in order quickly? Do you ever braid it? Mine is past my knees. I braid mine to keep it under control. Just saying. Diana, I'm not surprised that your hair goes past your knees. You seem like that country girl that knows how to like use the tools in the barn and like is just like that, just beautiful, living on the farm and long hair. I hesitate on the word hippie because I feel like that has a connotation to it that people instantly they see like hippie, that I'm like I don't want to throw in that direction. But yeah. Diana is a babe. Yeah, I said it. There we go. Metastep gets what I'm saying. He's picking up what I'm throwing down. Diana again for 2 says, "What a good conversation. Hope you have Adam back again soon. Love you, chat. Hugs to you all, chat." Diana, I am absolutely going to have him back. I mean, we just kept going. This is one of the few interviews that I kind of knew his vibe before going in, and I didn't really know what I was going to talk to him about, except for the fact that he's the Lectern guy, right? I just wanted to hear a little bit about it. I mean, we kind of talked about January 6th, but not really. Honestly, that just it happened exactly as I hoped. V69 says, Adam, I'm on there, but I follow a lot of gay stuff to break the algorithms. Being gay too helps. On X. Okay, so this is his. MK1V6 Neon. Oh, you missed the first Rumble rant. Did I? Okay, I'll go back. Hold on. I read that one. Oklahoma's, Chicago, Rotterdam. No, I read that one. Yep, I read that first one. Pagers. Yep, I read all your super chats, buddy. Yep. Okay, I just went back and checked. I got them all. I got you, dog. Hold on, I want to go find you though. Oh, that's not you. MK. I'm like blowing your name up, by the way. I apologize. Okay, Aaron Bacon. Oh, I am following you. All right. Aaron. Aaron. All right, let me read. Wow. Oh, whoa. Squiggles. Celebrating 49 months. Woo! 1 month away from 50. Wow. That is amazing. Mr. Squiggles, that is huge. Thank you so much. Sup, Adam and Adam. Sup, chat. Squigs, thank you so much. Holy cow. 49 months. That's amazing. Thank you, buddy. As a disciple, too, a tier 2. Probably should change the name, but that's a tier 2. That's major support. Thanks, Squigs. The squid for $20. Oh, thank God my brother saw it for what it was and left prior to the cops did anything. Our friend wanted to keep going. This is January 6th. I saw it when it came in. Very true. It's awesome. Wow, 49 months. Crazy. Alan Tanassi for 5 says, Sup, Adam? Shout out to all my fellow J6ers. Keep faith. Hail. Yeah. I am a January 6er. It's true. I was there. Some people don't believe it, but it's true. I was there. All right. Alan Tanassi again for 5 says, my friend Ed, who I was with, just got out of jail today. Over January 6th, by the way. He was there for 6 months. Wow. Well, happy freedom, Ed. I don't know if you watch my show, but I'm glad you're free. The Squid for 10 says, step 1 for doing right by our kids. Abolish inheritance, estate, and property taxes so our children can enjoy the fruits of our labor. 100%. I like it. I like it a lot. Yep. JD for 2, celebrating 2 months as a member, says, Ayo! JD, welcome. Metastep for 5 came in, says, I was yelling. The kid is still depending on you after it comes out of the womb. Is it still a parasite? Can you kill it then? Yeah, I mean, that's what these crazy leftists believe, though, dude. I mean, it's crazy. They are freaking insane. Hey, did you see the Charlie Kirk arguments with these people? They're psychotic. They really are psychotic. It's crazy. So, what a great conversation with him, man. I'm looking forward to having him back on. That was fantastic. Thanks a lot, everyone, for tuning in. I will be back, of course, tomorrow night. It is Friday, so I'll be jamming. You know how I do. I might do something a little different tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you yet, but we'll see. Made by his cousin on Twitch. Wait, which cousin? Do I have a cousin on Twitch? Psychos. Yes, they are, King. King, thanks for hanging out, man. I really appreciate you, dude. I like your takes. You're a good dude. I appreciate you, mate. All right, everyone. You guys are the best. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for supporting me. Thanks for sharing my streams. And most of all, thanks for being here. All right, I'll see y'all next time. Good night. Okay, I don't know why I was muted. So last minute I got a random I'm so tired. A random Rumble rant from that Lectern guy, awfully familiar. $20 from the Lectern guy says, I need a laptop charger. Any recommendations? And yeah, I can recommend something. The one that came with your laptop. I think that's probably the best one that you should use. Am I right? I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. Okay. Anyway, Adam, if that's in fact you, thanks for coming on, buddy. I really had a great conversation with you. Love to have you back on. Honestly, anytime you want. You're always welcome on the show. So, all right. On that note, thank you very much, everybody, and I'll see y'all next time. Good night.